You know, it's one of those special times, man. You know, it's one of those special experiences. You know, this is clearly a special week for us nerds and for everybody. You know, just so much anticipation, so much on the line. The stakes are high. The stakes are high. And I'm excited. I mean, I'm excited at the very least for the week itself. But you know, potentially for the movie as well. We'll see. We'll see. We'll talk about that a little bit today. How are you guys feeling, man? Like, how are you guys feeling? Are you guys feeling good? Are you excited? Are you going to see it soon? When does everybody see Superman? When? Superman! Thoughts on Jurassic World Rebirth making over 300 million in 4 days? We'll talk about it. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty wild. I did not expect that, especially because I mean, look, it's got a pretty low audience score compared to a lot of other ones. And I guess we'll see if there's a big drop off into week 2, right? Because, like, you know, your first reaction to it might be like, oh, that's really bad for Superman because it made more money than you would expect. Maybe if it has better legs, it sort of eats into Superman. However, the audience scores are pretty low, so we'll see how that translates into week 2. Although I will say, like, I guess people just like dinosaur shit, man. And then, you know what else kind of irritates me? What this is like kind of bugging me. I don't really know what to do with this, but look, I didn't see Minecraft. I did not see Lilo and Stitch. And I haven't seen the Jurassic movie, okay? But from what I could tell, those are like the biggest movies this year, right? I guess a lot depends on Jurassic and how its weekend 2 goes and shit like that, but aren't all of these movies kind of considered like slop? Like, aren't all of these movies like, I don't know. It's tough because I haven't seen them, but like from my perspective, there's this really weird thing happening where it's not like people aren't going to the movies per se, but it just seems like people are valuing movies and the movie experience completely different than the way they used to. It's kind of weird. I don't know what to make of it. Based on Minecraft, How to Train Your Dragon, Jurassic, last year's Kong vs. Godzilla, I believe the main draw for Fantastic Four is going to be Galactus. The audience seems to be into giant stuff these days. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. A big old giant Galactus probably going to do pretty good. You would think. Yeah, that's a good point, too. Taking the kids to them is certainly a part of it. I think that that's something that people value. So definitely, yeah, it seems to be a correlation there. Look, Superman might have some of this stuff too. You know, frankly, Superman seems very family friendly. Big spectacle, you know, the man in blue beating up a bunch of crazy villains and all that. James Gunn 8 with Superman fighting the giant monster. True. We'll see. Maybe that is what it is. Maybe that'll pop off. When will you make the James Gunn iceberg video? I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Jurassic is #1 in China. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. We're going to talk about Superman. You know, Superman has some... what is up with the music, Chet? What the fuck, man? This is just like the wrong vibe, man. All right, that'll do. We'll talk about Superman because Superman is facing some weird challenges. Like, I don't understand why it's doing so badly in China. Can anybody explain this to me? Is it just that, like, Superman is kind of considered more American or some shit? Because, like, dude, it's looking rough in China for Superman, and I don't really understand it. Superman is #1 in India. That's good. That's good. James Gunn and Zack Snyder appeared together on Rick and Morty new episode. I know, I saw that. There's a lot going on right now with Superman, you know? Like, I think the Rick and Morty thing is really cool. We'll talk about that. I think there's a lot of attention this week, obviously, on the movie. Gunn's making comments. People are mad about certain comments. Like, it's crazy. It feels like a proper. It feels like a proper moment in time, you know, where, I think everybody's just so curious. What the fuck is happening with comic book movies? You know what I mean? What is happening with comic book movies? Because, man, we're either walking towards a couple of weeks here, right, between Superman and Fantastic Four. We're either walking into, like, a new era of, like, oh, there's still life here. There's a revitalization. Like, maybe people are really excited. Or some people think we're about to march into, like, the valley of the shadow of death. If both of these films underperform massively, I wouldn't say that the genre is completely cooked, but a lot of other people will say that. And it could be the case that Cape shit is on the way out. You know what I mean? And a lot of people are trying to figure that out. Like, what's going on with these two movies? I think it's also, like, one of the reasons I'm fascinated by this the most, because, like, look, I'm so excited, right? Like, legitimately. And I love comic book stuff. I'm excited to go see this movie tomorrow. I do kind of wish there weren't as many, like, glaringly obvious things that I don't think I'm going to enjoy in the film, just from, like, the trailers and stuff like that. But we'll get into it. I'm still excited to check it out tomorrow night. And I want it to do well. There's a part of me, though, that feels like more than ever, I have no idea what we're about to actually go through. Do you know what I mean? Like, we saw, over the past couple of years, we've seen some really crazy shit in this space, in the nerdy space. And I would say, like, in a way, guys, in a way, I'm still kind of shocked about the performance of Brave New World, Daredevil, and Thunderbolts. Like, that trifecta of shows and the way that they really underperformed is really still kind of shocking to me, you know? And so I am fascinated. I am interested. There's a part of me that thinks, like, you know, like there's a part of me that's, like, separate from the conversation of success, separate from the conversation of, like, where's this space headed, separate from all of that. There's still just, like, a nerd named Josh that is excited to watch Superman do Superman shit in a movie. And then I'm excited to watch the Fantastic Four movie. I have no idea how either movie's going to perform. It could very well be the case that both movies underperform. It could be the case that all of a sudden the zeitgeist starts turning on comic book shit, and they're like, they don't like it at all really anymore, and it's just like us, right? It's just like us sweaties kind of back to, like, the 90s a little bit more, right? I don't know. We'll definitely have that conversation, and I think it's fascinating. But there's also a part of me that's just like, you know, this is gonna be a cool July. Like, this is gonna be a cool July. Like, it's gonna be cool to go watch some classic comic book movies, classic comic book teams, really cool stuff that I've loved for a long time. It's cool to see the newest version of that, man. You know what I mean? Like, so I am excited. I do gotta say, though, I'm hella nervous, man. I'm hella nervous. Yeah, I saw Gunn speak about it. We're gonna get into all of it, guys. It's gonna be a big, long, girthy stream today. We're going deep. You know what I mean? Deep, long, girthy stream today. We've got to talk about the early reviews, the early reviews for Superman that are leaking out. That situation is crazy, so we got to talk about that. We have to talk about last-minute predictions for how I think the movie's going to do. I want to talk about best case scenario, worst case scenario, and then my actual prediction here. Guys, we have new Fantastic Four promo that's actually, like, blowing people away. Very, very strong buzz coming out of the Fantastic Four. And by the way, we have to talk about how a bunch of people have seen 30 minutes of the Fantastic Four, and the embargo for that is up tomorrow, the same day that the official reviews come out for Superman. So Feige's kind of playing some games. Really crazy. We'll talk about that. But Fantastic Four new promo looks absolutely incredible. I want to go over. James Gunn said, what? He said some stuff, political stuff. We'll get into it. He just came out, and this must have been an interview over the weekend or something, but it just came out that he said that the movie does not need to hit $700 million. You know? And he's like, people are crazy. It doesn't need to hit that amount of money. We will talk about that as well. And by the way, we have crazy new leaks out there, you know, kind of like, you know, take it with a grain of salt, but crazy leaks about how some of the characters in Doomsday are going to come together. It's really interesting. So we'll get into that as well, man. I think there's a lot of juice. There's a lot of juice to get into today. Zach Tech says, never would have thought ScarJo would be the highest grossing actor ever. Nerd Avengers for life. Yeah, so the thing is, when you're a part of Endgame and Infinity War, you're actually probably not that far off of one of the highest grossing actors of all time. Just based off those two movies. She's also in all the other Avenger movies, and she's been in some other big hits as well. But, yeah, I'm not really surprised by that. Zach says, much love, Nerd Avengers. I hope everyone had a good holiday. Oh, I just realized something. Okay. Everyone had a good holiday. I'll watch this after work. I just want to say, or I just want a good DC universe to enjoy. First of all, man, appreciate the support. Thank you very much for the love. I would agree. I just want a good DC universe. I mean, you know, we're going to get into it. I'll go into my actual thoughts about this. But really and truly, man, like, I could take a 7.5. If there's a lot of stuff I don't love, but the heart of the film is strong, if the DC universe is well established and it feels cool and lived in, and I'm interested in it, then that's a great start. That can be a great start, and then we can hopefully build off of that. You know what I mean? And get more complexity, maybe some other voices and sensibilities in there as well. But yeah, 100%. Darkest Timeline says, did you hear how they cut John Malkovich from Fantastic Four because of his experiments on monkeys was too similar to the monkey troll in Superman? I did not hear that, actually. I mean, I guess that kind of makes sense. Marvel and DC tend to cook similar things, and so this wouldn't be the first time this happened. In fact, it used to happen between the X-Men franchises and the Marvel franchises as well. That's kind of interesting. You know, I don't know that I've heard it confirmed from anybody that Malkovich is actually removed from the film. He very well could be. I've seen stuff from that scene, and I hope they didn't remove him. It's awesome. That scene is really cool, dude. Plus, there's something from that scene that I think comes into play later in the movie. So I almost doubt that they removed him from the film, to be honest with you. But we'll see. You know, Marvel makes a lot of cuts. I mean, famously, they changed the ending of Quantumania literally a month before it released. Also, this is less known about, but you know that scene at the end of Avengers where they all eat shawarma? That's not in the premiere version of the film. They shot that at the premiere, but it didn't make it into the film until the wide release. Isn't that crazy? So Marvel's like really, really ballsy and bold on how they can change things at the last minute. So maybe we'll see something like that. Benjamin says, if you talk Superman spoiler from either review or other reviews this week, could you put a spoiler tag on the screen while you were talking so I know when to mute? Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't really plan on talking spoilers here until maybe next week. Yeah, probably next week. So I'm going to see the movie tomorrow. Wednesday, I'll see it tomorrow night. Okay, let me, you know, this is good. Let's take you through the week. Let's talk through this, guys, okay? So, obviously, Superman, big deal. So today, we're going to kind of go through a bunch of predictions, talk about some of the things Gunn has said, you know, Fantastic Four promo. I would say tomorrow, I do want to give a couple last-minute thoughts, but also we're going to go over the reviews. So tonight at 9 p.m. Pacific time, so I guess that's midnight tonight Eastern, the Rotten Tomato scores are going to start to pour in. So tomorrow's stream is going to be really interesting. We'll go live at 11, and there will be a Rotten Tomato score, but I would imagine there's going to be a lot of reviews rolling in as we stream tomorrow. So tomorrow will sort of be like, okay, let's keep checking in with the Rotten Tomato score. What do we think is going on with Superman? You know, we'll talk a little bit more about like Fantastic Four and some stuff tomorrow as well. Tomorrow will be the last chance I have to sort of give you my argument for why I think Fantastic Four will make more money than Superman before I see Superman. Once I see Superman and I haven't seen Fantastic Four, it's a little unfair And not to say it's any, like, it could be wildly inaccurate, but it's just technically not as fair. So I'll do that tomorrow. But tomorrow in the morning, really we'll focus on the reviews, a little bit of Fantastic Four stuff. We'll kind of see where the stream takes us tomorrow. Wednesday morning, I will have seen Superman. So what I'll do is very early Wednesday morning, like probably ass crack early in the morning, I'll drop a quick first thought, first reaction video on the main channel that will probably be spoilers. Maybe I'll keep spoilers out of the first part of it or whatever, right? And then Wednesday morning, we will do a non-spoiler review of Superman. So I'll tell you how I felt about it. I'll tell you some things I liked. I'll tell you some things I didn't like. I'll try to keep that as non-spoilery as possible. You might want to put the stream on and then just close the chat window, because I can't really control chat super well, and they might come in there and spoil some stuff for you. But no spoilers there. Thursday, who knows? I mean, we'll probably be doing something different on Thursday, but at the same time, a lot of you will be sort of getting ready to see Superman for the first time on Thursday or over the weekend, and then we will have a discussion on the box office performance. We'll talk about the future of the DCU. We'll talk spoilers for the film in videos over the weekend, and then on stream on Monday. Does that make sense? Does that seem fair? Topps Chrome Marvel is popping off right now, so the nerddom still wants it. I'm going with It's Just Movie Superhero Fatigue. Phase 5 damaged the brand. Oh, speaking of Fantastic Four. Yeah, it's a tricky one, man. I mean, I don't know what the deal is exactly. It's probably a combination of things. Like, there's some superhero fatigue. There's also just movie fatigue. Like, it's tough to justify going to the theater these days. So maybe it's a combination of those two things. But yeah, because it's hard to say, like, there's comic book fatigue because, DC's doing really well in comics right now. Marvel actually has some books that are doing well. The Marvel games are popping off right now. So it's hard to say, like, Marvel or comics in general are down, but it just might be the case that the actual movies themselves are not clicking the way that they used to, right? So that could be what it is. Just wanted to say happy 4th birthday to my dog and homie Gambit. Oh, nice, man. Appreciate it, Rossi. And also happy birthday to Gambit, man. That's cool. Is he going to make a name for himself? Thanks, Josh. We are very grateful for you. Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Much love, man. Much love. Did I see Corn Sweat's Superman clown shoe? I sure did. I mean, it looked pretty dumb. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's going to necessarily kill the movie, but, like, come on. That one was pretty bad. I actually thought it was fake at first. I was like, there's no way that's real. Yeah, it's pretty silly. It's pretty silly. Yeah, it's probably that cinematographer. The lens could be a little like CGI or whatever. It looked like fucking AI, dude. That looked like some AI shit. So, yeah. I was waiting for the video to start, but started watching Adam the Woo, and then I just got here. Wait, what? Opened one. Oh, okay. You're opening some premium packs. The Topps Chrome is popping. Okay, shit. Everybody wants me to get some Topps Chrome. Where do I go to get my Topps Chrome? Do they have it at GameStop? Just look like an extra large boot. It did look like an extra large boot, yeah. Adam the Woo is dope. I don't know what that is. Josh, James Gunn being the focal point of the DCU and being more pro wrestling term over than half of the cast is a choice and won't hold well. I guess we'll see. We'll see. Is it true the review embargo also ends tomorrow? Okay, yeah, so not exactly. It's the review embargo for the first 30 minutes of Fantastic Four. But I will say, that is a choice. That is potentially some white Suge Knight. That is potentially some gun control. But yeah, we'll talk about that. That's in the notes. It's in the notes. Just relax. We'll get there. Is reviews out for Superman today? Midnight tonight, Eastern time. Yeah. Superman and Lois show is a good appetizer. Yeah, but it might ruin your appetite, Okay. Yeah, how you guys feeling? Should we just get into it? Should I start talking about the early reviews and everything? I mean, it's probably time, man. You know, it's probably time to just get into it. I don't know. I feel so hyped up. I feel nervous. I feel excited. It's the final countdown, baby. Like, guys, let me know. Like, how are you guys feeling out there? Like, real talk. Like, are you dialed in? Are you really interested? You know, like, do you not give a shit anymore? Do you wish I would just talk about Warhammer? Like, you tell me. Where are you at right now? How are you guys feeling? You excited? You pumped? A little nervy? Kaylin J says, excited for Superman, July. Going to see Superman on Thursday, hoping it's a great film. Great time to be a nerd venger. It is a great time to be a nerd venger. Hell yeah. Excited, kind of nervous. Boo, Warhammer, says Justin. Def don't want for war. I know. Hey, look, there's a couple of ways. We might take a couple of off-ramps to Warhammer Land today. But I'm going to try not to go crazy with it because I know this is a big deal. I know Superman is a big deal. Okay, let's begin. Let us begin. Uh-oh, hang on. R.I.P. Julian McMahon, gone too soon. Great Dr. Doom. Totally agree, Chris. Totally agree. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Rest in peace, and it was sweet to see his former co-stars and whatever just celebrate his life, you know? Okay. So, obviously, guys, it's Superman week. This is a super big deal. But some really weird shit happened over the past couple of days. I'm sure you guys caught some of this. I think it's worth getting into a bit here. The Superman movie, its review embargo lived tonight at midnight. Okay? And yet, three, technically, different outlets have leaked, revealed, broken embargo. Okay, so we got to get into this. Now, we're going to be super fair. Two of them were negative. One of them was really positive. Okay, so we're going to get into this, but I just want you to understand what's actually going on. There's a lot of misinformation out there. So I shared this. This was in a article by Variety over on Variety. This was published on Friday. Okay, now there seems to be some confusion because Variety has altered the article. This line is no longer in that article, and for some reason, all kinds of people think that this was never actually in the article. Okay. I've been got before, okay? I've been caught up in the fake news. The internet's a crazy place, but this shit was real, man. This shit actually happened. And this is in addition to an absolutely brutal Superman review that came out saying that it was literally the final nail in the coffin for comic book movies. So, what's going on here? Well, we're about to read an article here that will kind of break down most of it, but TLDR, just from rips. A lot of people have seen Superman. A lot of journalists have seen Superman. It appears the first very, very negative review was unintentionally published. Some intern, some person accidentally published their review. Okay, and it's really, really bad. All right? That's what appears to have happened there. Now, you can have questions about that. Was this leaked on purpose? Was this them trying to play some sort of a game? Whatever, right? Now, that in and of itself is fine. Friday, Variety puts this out, and it says here, you can be forgiven for writing off Head of State, but then you would miss a movie that's no sillier than Superman and a lot more entertaining. A comparison worth making since both adhere to mystical sense of heroism. After opening with a spectacular shootout involving territory but important undercover character, blah, 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 blah. So it's not a full review, but technically this breaks embargo because you're not allowed to actually tell the quality of the movie, especially as a journalistic outlet, like to the level of Variety. This is a big oopsie. Okay, it's a big old oopsie. This has been removed from the article. Now, further context here, and then we'll read in the article here that is explaining it. The first review was done by an outlet that is all over the place. They said that Sinners was terrible. They have a pretty checkered history with not only movies, but with James Gunn movies in particular. However, the author of this article in Variety is a big fan of Gunn, has actually positively reviewed almost every James Gunn project. So that's just worth pointing out there. Let's get into the details here. Let's see exactly what happened and make up our own minds here. So, following brutal first Superman review leak, Embargo is shattered once again. Now, they are going to talk about the positive review that just came out, but of course, you got to set it up by explaining what happened before. Superman movie review embargo was supposed to be lifted on July 8th, but as you're likely aware, things didn't go as planned just a few days ago. The Daily Beast accidentally published its review of James Gunn's Superman 5 days before the review embargo was supposed to be lifted. The review's headline read, "The terrible new Superman movie is the final nail in the grave for superhero genre." It should be coffin, not grave. You don't put nails in the grave, but, whatever. The article was removed within 5 minutes, but many people already saw it online. Warner Bros. PR team is now facing a big problem. They made a mistake by breaking the embargo, and breaking it with that headline caused even more trouble. Then, in his review of Heads of State, Variety's Peter Dubridge took a subtle shot at James Gunn's Superman. While praising the fun chemistry between Idris Elba and John Cena, he slipped in a comparison saying Heads of State is no sillier than Superman and a lot more entertaining. It wasn't a direct attack, but clearly suggesting that he found Superman underwhelming. Now, yet another review has leaked. The Sunday Times broke the review embargo early by publishing a positive review of the film. The review calls the film a triumph and praises it as Superman movie fans have been waiting for. It suggests that the previous version struggled to handle the character properly, but Gunn has finally gotten it right. Superman, directed by James Gunn, is a triumph. After a long wait, this is the film that the characters deserve. In 1978, Richard Donner made us believe a man could fly when he picked up Christopher Reeves as Kal-El, the Kryptonian, who falls to Earth to become Clark Kent, and despite a superb sequel to the franchise, has since been a reboot slog of diminishing returns. Brandon Routh is forgotten. Henry Cavill is boring. Nobody seemed to know what to do with Superman until now. I'm not going to pretend that the early release of the specific review was an innocent mistake. The timing is far too convenient to ignore. Whether or not this was a calculated move by Warner Brothers PR team is up to you to decide. What's clear, though, is that we're still in the dark about the film's true quality. With one glowing review and one harsh critique, we're essentially back to square one. Superman is written and directed by blah, 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 blah. Okay, so that's basically the TLDR of what happened there. Okay. So, here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. I'll try to explain what I think is going on here. Obviously you don't want to break embargo. You don't know what the motivations here are. It's interesting that you have one review that breaks that's really negative, and then you have another one that's really positive. Potentially that's done by Warner Brothers. I can't even really blame them, though. I mean, if you were in that position, like, what would you do, right? So, all is fair in love and war. And if that's the way that they had to do it, I totally understand it. I think the subtle comment in Variety, albeit way less severe than the Daily Beast article, is actually more troubling to me. Okay? Partially because this person is traditionally very positive on Gunn. Partially because, I feel like you know what you're doing in that situation. Okay? I feel like you know what you're doing. And I feel like this was a way to kind of try to add to the conversation without really trying to add to the conversation. And I gotta say, I feel like in order to be motivated to do that, working in the Hollywood trade system, you must either A, really not like this movie, or B, you really don't like James Gunn. And the thing is, we kind of know the second one's not true because this person has literally given positive reviews to a lot of Gunn shit. So what does that imply? That implies that a pretty objective person that works at the Hollywood trades thinks Superman is terrible. Okay? However, of course, you have The Sun, and The Sun's glowing, right? It's a glowing review of Superman. I gotta say, though, it's a review that doesn't do anything for me. If you're a person that just thought, there's no good Superman other than, the old version and, Cavill was boring, Ralph's been forgotten and all that sort of stuff. I don't know, man. It feels almost as biased as the Daily Beast. Literally feels like you're just primed, ready to go to guzzle down on that James Goon slop and regurgitate some stupid bullshit like out of a fortune cookie, which is basically what they did. So it's a weird situation. Okay. I can't remember, by the way, I cannot remember the last time something like this happened. Truly. I cannot remember the last time that something like this happened. And I continue to believe that Gunn himself set this movie up for a bad time and potentially set the whole team, the whole studio up for a bad time, because he started picking fights with journalists. He started being really weird about trying to control the narrative. Like, guys, I didn't even talk about this last week, but there are certain markets that are literally not getting review screenings of Superman. Like, there was a big fight that broke out because Denver was getting like its critical screenings completely slashed. And it just seemed like this was potentially something Warner Brothers was doing on purpose to try to control the early narratives of the Rotten Tomatoes score. Okay? So, I don't know, man. It continues to feel like a super messy thing. The entire lead up to this film has seemed super messy. I know there are a lot of you that like Gunn. You want to defend Gunn. And, you maybe even think that I've been a little harsh on him or biased on him or whatever, right? But I think there's just been clear examples of Gunn either not doing the right thing or doing things in a way that just adds to the difficulty and the drama of this whole situation. Maybe it was always going to be messy when you bring Henry Cavill back, you put him in Black Adam, you're publicly talking about how he's coming back, and then firing him weeks later, going in a completely different direction, and there's no more Black Adam. Maybe that was always going to be messy, right? And that's fair. But I would argue that it's been nothing but messy. Whether it's the first look, whether it's the goofy ass shots with the fisheye shit, and then Gunn's telling people they just don't understand lenses, whether it's Gunn saying there's, no conflict here, Palm's not in the film, and then she gets confirmed. Like, all of this stuff has just led to an environment of a super messy, crazy, all over the place journey to this film. And I have never seen anything like this where you have deadass, not just a bad review, but a review that is like, this is the fucking death nail of this entire genre, going out 5 days early. That's crazy. Then you have Hollywood Trade Reporters the Friday before, 3 or 4 days early, saying this. I've never seen anything like this. So maybe on the one hand, it's just they're unlucky. Maybe they're just unlucky. On the other hand, perhaps there's a lot of animosity and a lot of people within the Hollywood system, or perhaps just the other apparatus, like these different review places, that don't like this guy or don't like this movie. For whatever reason, they're being either less professional or potentially crossing lines intentionally to cause problems and issues with the film. That's what we're looking at. Now, what does this mean for the actual reviews of the film? I'm not sure. It seems to just track along the line of what we have heard about the movie so far, right? From the more objective folks, it seems like it's a pretty mixed movie. It seems like if you like Gunn's humor, if you're okay with a very silly, like, dude, I've been hearing some shit. Like, people are hitting me up. Of course, right? And there's just so many people hitting me up, so many different voices. Some of them I pay some mind to, some of them I don't. Every single person that has reached out to me has emphasized how silly this film is. Like Looney Tunes silly, And, on the one hand, maybe that's completely fine. If you like that and you're down and then you just support the fantasy cosmic side of the movie, you're probably going to really enjoy this movie. But I think there's going to be a whole bunch of people that do not like this movie, okay? And so, just based on these early leaked reviews, we have 2 negative reviews, 1 really glowing positive reviews. That would put us at what? About a 73% on Rotten Tomatoes, essentially. Like, assuming the first 2 are positive, the second one is rotten. Or rather, the first 2 are negative. No, that's a 30%. Jesus. I think there's no way this movie hits high 70s, 80s, or 90s with the Rotten Tomatoes score. That is just what I'm sensing. And when you take into account these early reviews, I think it's probably fair to say this movie's going to come in 60s, maybe low 70s. That feels like the good version. That feels like the positive. That would be actually a dream scenario, I think, because of, I think, how divided and silly the film is. If it's possible this thing sticks low 60s, it's possible this thing drops into 50s. I truly believe that. I truly believe that. I mean, this is just, and this is just the evidence we have, guys. We're just looking at, like, actually maybe one of the worst reviews I've ever seen for a comic book movie, leaking 5 days early. Hollywood trade people saying it's silly, goofy, and not as good as this other film. You know, you've got the sun over there slobbing on the knob. It doesn't feel real or authentic at all. Right? Man, this is a crazy situation. I wonder how Warner Brothers is feeling, man. They got to be sweating. They got to be sweating, and it makes me even more interested for what the actual reviews are going to be like tomorrow. So tomorrow's stream, dude. Whoo! Tomorrow's stream. Oh my. Oh my. That's going to be a big one, man. That's going to be a big one. Yeah, you know what? That's fair. Let's do a poll on the Rotten Tomato predictions. I think that's totally fair. Let's go to the polls on this. What do you predict for Superman RT score? We'll go 90 plus, 80s, 70s, 60s. Oh, I can only go there. We'll go 60s or lower. Well, I really want that. I gotta be honest. Let's just take 90 off there. Let's just take 90 off, because there ain't no way it's hitting 90s. Sorry. We'll go 80s, 70s, 60s. We'll go 80 plus. That way, like, technically, if you think 90, you're good there. Or 50s or lower. Yeah, let's see what you guys think about that. Critics score. Yeah, this is for the critics RT score. Critics RT score. Saying it's not hitting 90s already means you're going in biased. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody's going in biased. It just kind of depends on the bias that you have. But this bias is, like, informed. It's not like I'm wandering into a room with zero context and randomly selecting a number. That's not what's happening. I'm reading the tea leaves. I am prognosticating. I am using information, including actual leaked, terrible reviews for the film, to come up with this idea. So yes, it is bias. Duh. No movies hit 90s these days. I think, didn't Thunderbolts hit 90s? Didn't Thunderbolts hit 90s, dude? Thunderbolts was fucking amazing. People love that movie. Yeah. And you have money on it. I do have money on it. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Although Brandon Davis is trying to act like I don't exist, actually. So I wonder if he's actually running away from the bet. I didn't think that think that of him. You know what I mean? And maybe I'm jumping the gun here. But, like, I didn't think that of Brandon. Like, I thought he had, like, a little bit of a sense of honor. You know what I mean? So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Okay, let's talk predictions. While you guys are filling out the poll there, let me talk predictions. So this is the last time that I can make a prediction for Superman before I see it. Well, I guess technically I could do this tomorrow too, but I want to make a last-minute prediction here, okay? I want to predict how I think the movie will hit me. I want to predict how I think the movie will hit critics and audiences, and then I want to predict what I think is going on with the box office here, okay? So This is all just prediction, speculation, and whatnot, okay? So I see the movie tomorrow night, 7 or 7:30. I'm not sure, but that's going to be dope. I'm excited. I will do a non-spoiler review on Wednesday, right? But what am I thinking? Like, what do I think tomorrow night is going to be like? You know, there's this thing that happens with me with movies, and I think this probably happens with most people, but I'm not sure. I can have all sorts of thoughts, feelings, and ideas about a film before I go in. But when I have my popcorn and I have my vitamin water, because I always do the vitamin water, and my Milk Duds, and I'm sitting in the theater seat, and the credits roll, the title comes up, or whatever, right? And we just go into the movie. I am somehow, some way, always able to give it a clean slate. Truly. So I'm going to go in just like I always do. And when I sit down, I'm there, and it's time, I'm going to give it a clean slate. Okay? Now, I will say, as has happened with a lot of the recent Marvel movies, that clean slate can go away really fucking fast. I would say within 5 minutes of watching Brave New World, I was fucking furious. And all I could think about was how much covering this movie for the past couple of years, all the anticipation, all the stories about how they reshot here, this, that, second, and the third, all the different scoopers being like, Marvel doesn't think this shit's good. All of that just like, I got hyper fixated on it, and I couldn't get it out of my head. I fucking hated Brave New World, and I fucking hated watching it. Like, those are two separate things. Like, I hated the movie, but I hated watching it. Dude, I was so fucking mad. So that can happen. And to be honest, like, if Superman is like rough, like if this shit is rough, oh my God, I'm going to get super triggered, and I'm going to start cursing Gunn. I'm going to start cursing Zaslav, because really there is a part of me that still cannot fucking believe that James Gunn is the one to launch the DCU. Like, I feel like I don't know what the fuck happened. Like, maybe the moon is actually a secret reptilian base that's beaming bullshit into all of our calcified brains or some shit. But, like, I feel like nobody can acknowledge how fucking ridiculous this is. That James Gunn is a ridiculous motherfucker, okay? It is truly crazy that this fucking guy is launching Superman, okay? And I feel like there's a whole bunch of people, there's a whole bunch of you that are like, no, that's not true. This is normal. No, it isn't. Nobody else in that town wanted that job. He was the last pick. No. And I got to say, if this movie is the worst case scenario tomorrow, and it is exactly what I thought it was going to be as soon as we started hearing about this movie, I'm going to be so fucking pissed. Because it's like, what the fuck are we doing? For another couple of years, a bunch of idiots in Hollywood that don't know their ass from their elbow, yes, manning this motherfucker, visiting set. They have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. 2+ years building out multiple fucking projects, and it's all just going to go up in flames, and we're going to have to start over again. Oh my God. If this happens, and if I find myself having that conversation in my head, and I start like looping out on how fucking terrible this is, I might walk out. I might legitimately walk out of the film, because I don't want no part of that shit, do we? I don't want no part of that shit, do we? So that's probably the worst case scenario, right? Like, I'll go in clean slate, but I will very quickly revert back to factory setting of hater if this shit doesn't actually entertain me. And if I start to see the holes in the bullshit, oh my God, I'm going to lose my fucking mind. Okay? Best case scenario. I start to have a smile on my face. Maybe there's a few things where I'm like, oh, Gunn, you knucklehead, but it's all right. You got me still. You know? And there's a heartwarming purity to the film, something that maybe I didn't expect, a sincerity, an honest tone. Best case scenario for me, I fall in love with this movie. I fall in love with this movie. And I don't think there's, like, I frankly don't think there's a scenario where I will love every aspect of the film. I just think Gunn's sensibility, my taste, bad matchup. Bad matchup. Bad combination. However, James Gunn has made me feel things before. And not just when he dunked on me on Twitter. I'm talking about in his movies. Okay? So Guardians has made me feel things. Even his goofy-ass Suicide Squad movie made me feel things. Okay? So, if Superman can make me feel things, and I think that, because there's like parts of the tone that seem so silly and so goofy, but then there's parts of the Superman shit that like I connect with and I latch onto and I'm like, that feels right. Like, I'll just admit something that I thought I would never admit. There's a spot out there where Superman says to Krypto, what the hey, dude? And it's one of those things where it's like, yes, that's very goofy, very infantile, very Gunn. It also kind of feels right for Clark. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. Clark saying, what the hey, dude? Kind of works. Kind of works. And I kind of get a little grin when I hear it, you know? And I'm like, man, that's Clark. Like, that's Superman, you know? I want to love this movie. And if Gunn can just get out of the way of that and he actually delivers something that is worthy of love, I think I will love this movie. And I would really like to, tomorrow night when I walk out of the theater, say I was wrong about Gunn. I would really like to say that I authentically feel as though this is a great foundation that we can build off of, that we can have more of, that this is like, because part of this is, it feels like the space needs this. It feels like Marvel needs this. Like, it feels like everybody needs this for Superman to come in and be well represented and to be successful, right? So, man, that's like the best case scenario is like, somehow, some way, he found a way to something that I can connect with, that I can truly love, and perhaps I'll be able to let some of the other stuff go if that happens. So what's my actual prediction here, man? Like, what do I actually think is going to happen as far as that for me? I got to say, we're probably going to split the middle. You know, we're probably going to split the middle. There'll be parts of it that I love. I hope there's at least some of it that I love. There'll be a lot I don't like, and I think ultimately I'll probably lean on the side of enjoying it while being very critical and just kind of knowing that a lot of it's just not for me. Okay, that's my honest prediction of it. But man, I gotta say, I would love to be wrong on either side of that. You know, either side of that would be crazy, really entertaining, really fun. And I will authentically tell you guys how it hits me, however it does. So that's me, but let's talk about the critics and let's talk about the fans. Ironically, you know, it's funny because we talk about Marvel all the time. We talk about Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts was a film, somebody pointed out in chat, almost a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes, 88. Incredible reviews for Thunderbolts. Incredible fan reviews, dude. The audience scores for Thunderbolts are through the fucking roof. Okay? Very, very high. And yet, that movie underperforms, I think, in a shocking way. It's still kind of shocking. Now, you might say, well, that's probably the same of Superman. Like, Superman, you know, who cares what the reviews are? Even if they're glowing, it seems like the comic book movie genre is dead or whatever. I would say this. I would say that's not true. Number one, Thunderbolts could have potentially been a lot worse. Thunderbolts might have been the Marvels if it had not had as good of reviews as it did. So that's number one. Number two, Marvel is in a different place than DC. And I think, unfortunately for Superman, unfortunately for Warner Brothers, and unfortunately for everybody involved over there, I think this Superman movie will be really hurt or helped by the reviews. Okay? But it's not just the reviews. I think it's what will be inside the reviews, okay? How many of you guys were here the day we went over the reviews for Thunderbolts? How many of you guys were here? I bet a good bit of you, right? We got a pretty regular squad, right? So that day, I don't know how many of you guys remember this, but we were going over the reviews. And I said, man, these are very good reviews, but I don't know how much they're actually going to activate people, because this, like, almost all of the reviews said, oh my God, this was such a good exploration of my depression. Oh my God, I loved how this movie tackled mental health. And I dead ass made the point as we were going over that shit. I was like, man, I don't think this is doing anything for this movie. Like, these are positive, but it's a bunch of, like, coastal elites being glad that the movie finally talked about their mental health. Bro, I don't think people give a shit about that. Like, I don't think that activates people at all. At all. Okay? So I think not only do the reviews for Superman, and if they're very positive or negative, that's going to play a big role. The other thing is the context of those actual reviews. If the reviews say, this movie is spectacle, you will believe a man can fly, and you will wish that you could, or something like that. Dope. Beautiful. If this movie's reviews say, like, this is like Top Gun Maverick level entertainment, you will want to see this in the biggest, best screen near you. Beautiful. Perfect. That's a golden scenario. Best case scenario for this movie, you're looking at a 70, 80, maybe even 90% on Rotten Tomatoes score. And the substance of the reviews is that it is a good-ass time that you cannot miss. Maybe you get a couple reviews here saying this is the antidote for Marvel fatigue, this, that, second, and third. That's the best-case scenario. You ready for the worst-case scenario? The worst-case scenario is not just that the reviews are bad. The worst-case scenario is that the reviews say this is just Marvel Superman. And I got to be honest with you, I'm terrified that that's what's going to happen. Because if they make an association within the reviews to this movie being Marvel Superman, unfortunately, I think that will be terrible for the box office. I think that'll be terrible for the Superman box office. Okay? So why? It should probably be obvious, right? But I'll break it down for you guys. The reason is because people are kind of turning on Marvel. And if you can get if the public views Superman as just more of the same, then I think, number one, it gets hurt by the sort of fatigue that people have for that. But number two, I just don't think that's going to drive people to go to the theater. Like, it's just frankly not enough. Like, even Thunderbolts, if you really think about Thunderbolts, I think many people just said, this is just more of the same. Like, they're like, this is just more Marvel stuff. We'll wait for streaming. We'll wait for Disney Plus or whatever, right? Like that. I think that was the mentality. I got to tell you, my prediction here is that the worst case scenario is going to happen. Okay. Now, right now, I could be totally wrong about this, by the way, but right now you have a ton of people that are thinking the movie's going to do very well. You have a ton of people saying they think the movie's going to do very bad. I think the movie's going to underperform. I think the reviews tomorrow, I mean, and by the way, we're going to go over it tomorrow. Isn't it fun? We can make this prediction and then we can see tomorrow. Was Josh wrong? Is Josh stupid and doesn't know anything? Or did he have a point? We're literally going to find out. Less than 12 hours. Okay? I think tomorrow you're going to see middling scores. But I think, unfortunately, you're going to see over and over again the comparison to Marvel. And I think you might even see people saying, unfortunately, at a time when we need something fresh, Superman feels like all of the mid-Marvel movies we've seen over the past 5 years. That's the worst-case scenario. And I think that worst case scenario might happen. So I'm going to predict, just to give you a final prediction here, I'm going to predict low 60s. But even more devastating than that score will be the comparisons to Marvel. And I think, because we can talk a bit about box office, right? We can talk about the box office predictions. Let's get into that. Wildly swingy, right? You have some people saying, Superman's going to open to 140 to 180, right? You have other people saying, Superman 90 to 125. Then now you have like 130 to 170, right? Man, I just keep seeing reports that are very bad for Superman, okay? So here's just one, and I'll talk you through a couple other. Tracking update for Superman is nothing has changed yet. The range is currently at 90 million to 125, with a high end factoring decent reviews and good word of mouth, and the low end reflecting more of the current sales. Could go big with spectacular reviews, but right now it's trending close to the low end. So I just want to be perfectly clear about this. Not everyone, because it's a mixed bag. There are some people out there that think it's going to go higher. Everybody has their own personal prediction. Many different outlets are now saying that it is hanging closer to the low end of predictions. I predict tomorrow you get bad reviews, a lot of Marvel comparisons, and I think this thing in its opening weekend underperforms or performs at the low end of expectations. That's what I'm currently actually predicting. Another thing that's like really wild about this movie, and I really don't understand it, is it's like doing next to no business in China. For whatever reason, the Chinese market has like damn near rejected this movie, which is really weird. Like I don't quite understand it, but the projections, and I watched Luis Fernando, he's been going over this a lot. They slowed and stalled, and they're not ticking up at all. So they're not going to get a lot of help from China. It seems like they will get help in other markets, and one can hope that those markets will carry it through to a big global box office. But there is a lot of shit holding Superman back, okay? So my final predictions here, I think 60% Rotten Tomato score, fairly high audience score, low end of projections, lagging out maybe a little bit better than we would think, and I think sticking close to between 500 and 600 million global. Maybe tipping over 6, going towards 7 global if things go well, maybe doing even worse if things go poorly. I'm kind of thinking between 5 to 6, 60% on RT, a lot of Marvel comparisons, a lot of fatigue. Because of that, those are my final predictions. What do you think, chat? What do you think? No way, no how? I'll catch up on a couple super chats here, too. Superman must beat the dinosaurs, but all that for F4 to be on the moon. That 500 is calling your name. I mean, yeah, I think so, too. Appreciate you, brother. Shalami Leaner says, to be honest, I am more excited for Supergirl than I am Superman. I agree. I feel she is more relatable, and Gunn is not writing it. Yeah, totally. Agree with that. 100%. Braden says, new super positive review just broke Embargo from GQ. Oh, okay. Let me look this up. Let's see here. Well, hang on a second. Superman. What was it? GQ, you said? I have to be like careful on Twitter, unfortunately, because there's so much ridiculous shit on there. Okay, here we go. All right, let's look at it. Let's be fair. GQ breaks embargo early and offers a positive Superman review. Here we go. The result is one of the most distinct superhero films in a long time, with a tone that feels honest and true to the spirit of Superman, and therefore at odds with pretty much everything else in the genre right now. That's kind of interesting. That's actually the opposite of what I thought would happen. That's cool. Gunn's approach is colorful in both its palette and its costumes, profoundly fantastical, with flying orbs, robots, portals, and giant monsters. At times, endearingly, intentionally corny, But late in the third act, Superman delivers an impassioned monologue about himself that essentially states Gunn's thesis about the character and his core values. You won't find any controversial neck snapping here. Huh. Man. That is positive. You know what I mean? That is positive. What do you guys think of that? I mean, that is positive. There's no way around it. You know, intentionally corny obviously gives me some pause. Controversial neck snapping, it kind of like, you know, tapping into that anti-Snyder energy a little bit. You know, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Bubble Guts says, I have a feeling Superman reviews will not just be Marvel Superman, but Guardians of the Galaxy 2 Superman. Oof. 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 That would be fucked. Oh, that would be tough, man. Well, I guess we could raise the Rotten Tomato score to 50% now. 50% positive, 50% negative right now. Wild. Wild. What do you guys think, man? Like, what are your predictions? Do you disagree with me? Do you agree with me? What do you think? This review sounds like it's right in the middle of... What? Poll looking... let's see. Let's see what the poll is. Wow. Pretty split here. But still pretty good, man. I mean, technically you have... So you have 35% of people saying 80 plus. 35% of people say it'll sit in the 70s. I think both of those would be great. I think if it has a 7 in front of it, at least, that's great for the movie. 20% of you think 60s. 10% of you think 50s or lower. Wow. Yeah, I guess we'll see, man. Did you see other critics like Mike Ryan saying they disagree with the Daily Beast negative review over the weekend? Yeah, I saw that, yeah. The Snyder stuff at time, like the next snap, the Batman with guns, was polarizing, though. 100%, yeah, totally. Those voting in the 60s and 50s, though, will bring the average down. I mean, yeah, that's how polls work, brother. I don't know what you're saying. Gunn saying it's political will turn off most casual movie fans. Well, we'll talk about what Gunn said, because it is kind of wild. He had some wild comments for sure. Superman is looking more and more like Brave New World reviews and how mixed it is. I mean, we're going to see. We're going to find out very soon. We're going to find out very, very soon. I think Superman will do 600 million. They shouldn't panic through the first Cap and Thor made like 400 million. I agree with that. I agree with that. I usually hate political talk for the movies, but Superman is an immigrant. Yeah, we can get into that. Don't worry. We'll talk about it. I'll get into it. I'll give you my take on it. Who would you personally wish the head of DC was, if not Gunn? I mean, I almost think you throw a stone in Hollywood and the person closest to it that is not Gunn is a better pick. Did you see the Rick and Morty Gunn Snyder skit? I did. I didn't watch the full episode. I saw some clips. It looked really funny. What do you guys think, man? Did you see that? Did you like it? Superman was a refugee, not an immigrant. Yeah. I mean, I thought about this last night, too. I'd rather a divisive movie than a middle-of-the-road slop Pixar is serving up. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. Oh, God, this talking point. What talking point? What are you talking about? I'm far more nervous for the Superman movie than any other movie this year, and I'm not going to lie. Yeah, same. But there's an element of it that's exciting. I mean, look, I'll say this, man. If they can weather this storm, because truly, chat, like truly, does anybody deny that this has been a really ridiculous lead up? Maybe you just blame people like me and all the Snyder bros. But even if that's the case, you still have to admit, this has been a ridiculous lead up. Right? Like, does anybody disagree with that? It has been wild. It has been ups. It has been down. There's constant controversy. There's a very vocal group that's trying to, besmirch him. I think he himself doesn't do himself a lot of favors. Yeah, Gunn has been in the marketing too much. I agree with that. Yep. I'm just hoping the marketing is bad, but the movie is good. Fair. I like that the stream is back to how it used to be, communicating with your community. Nerd Ventures for life. Appreciate you. I'm still thinking about Robert D. Meyer's friend saying the movie trailer is a misdirect. What does that even mean? I don't know if I can answer that without getting into the spoilers. You remember when people said The Flash was the best movie ever, but it's not good? Yeah, you know what's kind of funny about that? Here, I'll pull this up for you guys. I did actually think this was pretty funny. So Fandango's Eric Davis and The Rap's Humberto Gonzalez are some of the notable press members who have deleted their The Flash reviews ahead of the Superman embargo. Dude, like, first of all, I wonder if they're going to give Superman a positive review. Second of all, that is pretty funny, dude. Like, that is pretty funny. Like, they knew. They're starting to learn, dude. Like, they're starting to learn the internet culture. They have deleted their glazing of The Flash so that once they start glazing Superman, a bunch of people don't just quote tweet their fucking Flash reviews and then be like, oh yeah, no kidding. Which, by the way, the ultimate glazer of that movie was James Gunn. Remember when he said it was the greatest superhero movie he had ever seen? So yeah. I did see that. I do think that's pretty funny. Snyder Bros couldn't even support a Black Adam. You think they will make an impact now? I mean, that's always the question, right? Like, I understand your point, and I think it's actually fair, right? Like, if the Snyder Bros had really showed up to support Black Adam, like got it to like 600-700 million or something, yeah, that would have been a big statement. I absolutely agree with that. The Snyder base, it's tough because, like, you look at some of those things and you're like, damn, these movies made a ton of money. Like, Aquaman makes a shit ton of money. Batman v Superman, in comparison to a lot of films that have released since then, like a lot of DC movies, Batman v Superman made buku bucks compared to, like, everything they did afterwards, right? So it's tough. But yeah, I mean, I agree. If the Snyder fans, if they had been more supportive of that universe, I do think we'd be having a different conversation. And there's that famous meme of, like, DC fans online, and it's like everybody going crazy, and there's like DC fans in the theater, and it's an empty theater. So we'll see. Could we be looking at something like that? 100%. We'll see. I'm so interested to see how Superman does, man. Like, I truly am fascinated at how this movie's going to do. Do you think Thunderbolts being good helps Fantastic Four? Yeah, I think so. A bit. Yeah. Yeah. Thoughts on some new leakers saying that Tobey Maguire's in Doomsday and the movie is allegedly very hectic and messy. Who said that he's in it? I did not see that. Where's that at? Somebody link me that? Because that's kind of cool. That is kind of cool. All right, should we talk about, like, what Mr. Gunn has been saying about some of this shit, man? He said some political stuff. He said some stuff about the box office. Should we get into that a little bit? I don't like the Superman marketing of getting influencers so they give good reviews. Yeah, I mean, I think all that shit's cooked. Like, I think it's hard, man, because like I have my take, but I'm also like willing to say that I could be completely wrong about this. All I know, my gut and like the notion that I have is that a lot of this stuff is not doing anything. Like, you know, we talk about Matt Ramos. I like Matt Ramos. Spoken to him multiple times. But like the idea of really leaning into using Matt Ramos to like promote the film. Who's that working on? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, who is that actually for? Is that actually going to move the needle at all? I don't know. And then, like, you look at some of these other people, whether it's Brandon Davis or Coy or even Greg, you know, part of the issue here is that because Gunn has been so obviously biased, you know, he won't invite Jeff Snyder to anything for just one instance. Because Gunn has been so obviously like, he'll hit certain reviewers really hard, whether it's like even fucking Adam B. Very in the Hollywood trades or just scoopers. He's so obviously curating who he thinks will be loyal to him in the project and who he does not. Right? So I think it's a twofold thing. I think it's number one, it does ring inauthentic, but I think Gunn makes it even more inauthentic. To where, like, I'm sitting back and I look at, like, the whole apparatus, whether it's that goofy podcast they have, whether it's the clips, the interviews, this, that, second, and the third. To me, it feels so fucking inauthentic. But I also do not know, does this work on other people? Like, is this working on the moms, the grandmas, the uncles, the dads? Like, is this working on the non-chronically online people? I don't know, right? It's hard to say. I think for a lot of us that are, you know, pretty much online all the time and also really plugged in, I think we see it for what it is. I will also say, like, it's not doing anything like to make me not want to like the movie or not want to support the movie. It's just like I very clearly see it for what it is, and I just think it's inauthentic. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's a tough one, man. I don't really know. Hollywood themselves, you know what it kind of reminds me of? Do you guys know who Jenny Nichols is? Anybody in here a Jenny Nichols fan? I think Jenny Nichols is like such a good example of this point and this energy. She did this really big breakdown of the Star Wars hotel after it, you know, had to close up shop and all that, right? So she probably explains it better than I do. But there's this thing that Disney will do where they get influencers in on the program, okay? And then the influencers are required, because of the contracts they have with Disney, that they have to say the park ride explicitly. So they can't just casually say like, oh, the new Rockstar ride. It has to be like the new Rockstar Riders roller coaster ride of Disney Springs, this, that, second, and the third. Like, they have to say the whole fucking thing. And for most normal people, it just rings so incredibly inauthentic. And I think the studios, like, there's something happening right now that I think the studios and a lot of Hollywood apparatus are just they're not responding to it well, where the truth is, people are seeking authenticity more than ever. Like, you guys, it's crazy because we'll get people come in here and they're like, why do people even watch this motherfucker? And it's, you know what? Fair point. You know what I mean? Like, fair question. And I can actually tell you why. It's because they might not even like all the things I say. In fact, we'll do a little experiment here. Chat, if there's things I've said that you don't like at all, throw a 1 into the chat. I'm just curious. Throw a 1 into the chat and show the rest of chat in the world that there's a lot of shit that I say that you don't like. There's no 1s in the chat if you're listening. No, I'm just kidding. There's a ton of 1s, obviously. The point is, why and how can people keep showing up for a streamer? They don't even like everything I say. It's not like they're sitting here nodding their head along with every goddamn thing I say. In fact, most of the time, they're very angry in chat, arming up a super chat to trigger me, trying to, you know what I mean? They know, though, it's authentic. That's the big mystery. That's the big difference. Okay? They flip on some of these other people, and they don't have that feeling. They flip on some of these other people. They might like a lot more of what is said out of some of these more affiliated mouths. They might agree more with some of these other folks. Why do they watch me? Why do they keep coming back to me? Number one, I'm really entertaining. Number two, it's authentic. This shit is real. So at a time when authenticity is becoming the currency and people are gravitating towards that, Hollywood cannot fucking handle it. Hollywood cannot handle it. They go out and try to create fake authenticity. It looks worse and more inauthentic than ever. They look so goofy to me. Like, and not the people, because again, I understand the people, the hustle, totally get it. You're not doing anything different than folks have been doing in the media for 100 years, right? Whatever. But the studios themselves should probably just stop. It's not working. You're seeming very silly, you know? And this is true of Marvel. This is true of Star Wars. This is true of DC. It's all the studios doing all the same thing. It's the same thing as like the person with 2,000 followers that only does TikToks where they twirl lightsabers getting invited to Andor things or whatever, right? It's the same idea. It's like, we don't actually want the most prominent voices. We want the most friendly voices. We want to create a perceived narrative of positivity. So look, they can do what they want, and it's tough because I don't even know that I'm right. I feel like I know I'm right for a certain select group, but then it's like, you look at some of the other things that go on in the world, and it's like, wow, it seems like people are really just willing to bend their beliefs just to root for a team. Right? So I don't know, man. It's an incredibly crazy time right now. You know, social media, voice, alternate media, Hollywood trying to figure it all out. It's crazy right now. Shit's wild, brother. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. So, yeah. Elijah says, I've been a movie stickler lately, but saw JP Rebirth and loved it. I felt like a good faith effort to reenact the fun scenes we all enjoyed from kids from the original to a new audience of 12-year-olds. That's cool, man. That is cool. I've heard some people, like I think Paul absolutely hated it. A lot of people I've seen just absolutely hate it. I don't know. It's making money. I mean, I think obviously people are fucking with it, but we'll see what the weekend 2 looks like. Maybe it's just enough. Like, because here's another thing, right? You know, think about the example. We just talked about Thunderbolts, right? And we talked about the difference between like positive reviews and reviews that actually activate an audience. The reviews for Jurassic World are not great. But it's not like they're saying there's not even enough dinosaurs. You know what I mean? So it's like, hey, maybe people are just going to Rotten Tomatoes. They're seeing the Rotten Tomatoes score. Oh, it's not like a 15%. Okay. And then they're scanning to see, are there a bunch of dope dinosaurs in this shit? You know what I mean? Like, dude, like, maybe that's all it is. Like, maybe that's all it is. Like, people are just like, dude, are there enough dinosaurs? Are there enough dinosaurs in here? Okay, cool. We can support it. Mav says, I paid extra for the verified, authentic icon for my profile. Oh, shit. There you go, man. There you go. You know, it reminds me a bit of... Have you ever seen people that they're into fashion, but they want to make it look like it was effortless? So you have, I mean, this is just such a mind twister, but you have people out there that care so much about how they are perceived through the lens of like fashion that they're going to try to be fashionable, but they also want it to look like they didn't really try to be fashionable. Such a wild ass world we live in, you know? I guess I could say it like this, man. And I think this somebody famous said this quote one time, or a version of this quote, and I thought it was so brilliant. Let me see if I can find the actual quote here. Okay, here it is. Here it is. The secret of success is sincerity. Once you can fake that, you've got it made. And it's a lot of people contributed to George Burns. It was actually Gene Giraldix. Yeah. So authenticity is the key. If you can fake that, you got it made, you know? That's like the version of it. Okay. Let's get into James Gunn's comments. Then we'll talk about some crazy Doomsday leaks, and then we'll probably get out of here, okay? All right. So James Gunn, obviously, Superman's about to release. He's out there doing a lot of interviews and making a lot of comments. Well, there's a new comment or a new interview that he did that is triggering a whole bunch of people. And honestly, it seems like a bunch of people on the right, the political spectrum, right? A whole bunch of people on the right are butthurt about these comments. Let's go through the comments. Do these people have a point? Are these people acting crazy? Should Gunn have made these comments? And then I also want to talk about the Gunn comments about the box office, okay? James Gunn says Superman is about an immigrant that came from other places and how we've lost the value of basic human kindness. Yes, it's about politics. James Gunn is opening up about what Superman is really about. In his Sunday profile with the Times of London, the DC studio head went deep on the themes and the ideas that drive his highly anticipated Superman. He explained that the superhero epic encompasses the story of America. At a basic level, is about a man searching for a better life away from his original home. I mean, Superman is the story of America, Gunn explained. An immigrant that came from other places and populated the country. But for me, it is mostly a story that says basic human kindness is a value and is something we have lost. Gunn acknowledged that the movie's theme may be interpreted differently across political groups, especially considering the current nationwide unrest around immigration. However, Gunn stands by the ideals embedded in Superman and added that he doesn't care if anyone takes offense. Now, here's where it might have gotten tricky, but here we go. Yes, it plays differently, but it's about human kindness, and obviously, there will be jerks out there who are just not kind and will take it as offensive just because it is about kindness. But screw them. Okay, bud. He continued, yes, it's about politics. He continued, and Peter Safran was like, no! Yes, it's about politics. But on another level, it's about morality. Do you never kill no matter what, which is what Superman believes, or do you have some balance, as Lois believes? It's really about their relationship and the way different opinions on basic moral beliefs can tear two people apart. So that's it. So first question. How do you feel about these comments? Legit, we need to go to the polls on this because I am absolutely certain there's a whole bunch of you that are like, that's it? That's crazy. There's nothing controversial or bad about that. And I also guarantee you there are some people that disagree with that. Let's see here. What do you think of these Gunn comments? Harmless? Harmful? I would like to know what you think. Do you think they are harmless? Or do you think they are harmful? So, here's what I'll say about this. I think, to put this in context, I think the comments made by Anthony Mackie were way more ridiculous than this. And the comments made by Anthony Mackie were literally him just wording something poorly And even though that's what happened, the Anthony Mackie comments are way more ridiculous than these comments. Okay, now we shall see, because Anthony Mackie's comments got blasted over like Fox News and conservative outlets for like weeks. We'll see if these comments end up making a splash in conservative media or whatever. I have seen a whole bunch of people, and it did kind of shock me, if I'm being honest. I did see a whole bunch of people really, really upset about this. Okay. Now, in order to understand why I think people are getting upset about this, I have to try to explain the perspective of folks that half of you are just absolutely not going to agree with, and the other half of you are think I'm not going to go far enough. Okay, and we're talking about politics, right? Real world politics. I don't like to get into these conversations, okay? Because I have the best takes. I'm smarter than anybody, and that makes it difficult with nuance to explain things in a way that won't piss all of you off, because you've all just been hypnotized by the culture war, and you're just getting triggered over like really silly, stupid shit. So I'm the best. Y'all are wrong. However, in this example, I will try to at least explain why this is happening, because like a lot of people like straight up probably don't understand why this is controversial in any way. Okay. In order to understand that, I think you need to realize how seriously people are taking this exact issue right here. And I would say probably on both sides, right? There's probably like a large group of people left leaning that, which by the way, if you, again, I don't want to get into the weeds on this, but I would say if you want to better understand, you should look at how this subject has changed in how it polls even amongst left-leaning people, especially worldwide. Basically, immigration is a thing, and it is currently a major issue in a lot of different countries, in a lot of different places around the world, okay? And a lot of folks really, you have to understand, you might not agree with this perspective, but you should at least understand it. A lot of folks think this is actually an existential crisis. So they don't just think like immigration may be bad. They think immigration destroying Western culture. Okay? Now, again, you don't even have to agree with that, but you should understand that at this current moment in time, there are a whole bunch of people around the world that feel incredibly strongly about this, not just in America, in Europe, all over the world. Okay? So this is currently... And look, to be honest with you, like, I don't even think Gunn's comments are crazy here. I don't think they're crazy. But I do think he probably should not have said them. You know what I mean? I think just considering the timing of this, considering the current issues that are happening in the world, I think he potentially underestimated how big of an issue this is for certain people and how much they don't want any semblance of real world politics, preachiness, any of that shit anywhere near their entertainment. So, look, another way to say that, which is, you know, maybe going to make some people on the right feel uncomfortable, but I think it's an accurate way to say it, is like, they're butthurt, dude. Bunch of people on the right, super butthurt, super sensitive. I know they might not like to admit it, but they are super fucking sensitive to, number one, this exact issue. Number two, the way people flippantly put political allegory into entertainment. And there's a moment, there's like a thing we're going through right now where a lot of people are reinvestigating even what propaganda is, what Hollywood is, what is going on in this country. So it's a layered, complicated, but super fucking hot button topic. Super hot button. Okay? So I think that's part of it. I think that's part of why this exact issue is really reeling its head and people are really bothered by this. Can I tell you something else here? This is slightly spoilery. This is slightly spoilery for the film, okay? But the other thing that I don't understand about Gunn, right, is like, he's seen his own movie, right? He knows what he's actually doing with the Kryptonians, right? Like, it feels so weird to make these comments knowing what you're actually gonna do in the movie. The irony being, a lot of you right-wing people, you're going to fucking love the subtext of what Gunn is cooking up. You're going to absolutely love it. And in fact, I think if any left-leaning people actually use their brain, they're going to be super fucking pissed about the point he might be subtly making when it comes to immigration. Okay? So I'm like kind of fucking confused. Not just about like, so, I mean, look, here's something you've probably heard over the past couple of years. People don't like their politics in their entertainment, right? So why would you do this at all, period, number one? But number two, considering what he should know about his own movie, I can't believe he made this point. Like, I can't, I struggle. Like, it feels weirdly similar to the thing he said about India. And I know he was just like being flippant or offhanded or whatever. But like, Gunn made a point to say that haters on the internet were probably 12-year-old people in India. And then there's a rumor that in the film, maybe this got cut, maybe it didn't. But in the film, he has a literal plot where mutant monkeys are doing fake social media hate campaigns. So this dude's out here, in some ways, making a connection to 12-year-old people in India and mutant monkeys. And like, I'm just like, dude, do you not understand how that just looks? That's not a very chill thing to do or say. Right? And I also am really confused by this, where it's like, okay, you know, look, maybe it's totally fair to say he's an immigrant. But considering the twist in this film of what the Kryptonians actually wanted to do with Earth, what are you saying about immigrants, bro? Like, what the fuck? Like, I don't know, man. I truly do not know. Is he just the unluckiest person in the world? Is he just so silly and stupid that he can't draw the connections and see that he's being subtly racist and subtly, like, just really bigoted? Or is this intentional? Like, this is so crazy to me. So to take it back a little bit, you know, and just kind of like go through the actual comments here, I would say this. The fact that you would say this like the week of or the week before, probably just silly, man. And I think these are pretty benign comments. They're not too crazy. Like, they're not flagrant. I don't even think they're as bad as what Anthony Mackie did. And Anthony Mackie truly fucked up, but it was like, that was a bad fuck up. I don't think this is necessarily a fuck up, but it does confuse me. It's like, are you just so bad at the optics game that you literally did not think through this possible question? You don't have a better answer for this? It's weird, dude. Like, it just feels weird, right? So, I don't know. We'll see, man. We'll see how all of that goes. But, like, definitely some weird comments. And I would say there's a lot of people that are bothered by these comments. I don't know how many. Like, you see a bunch of people online being like, that's it. I'm not buying a ticket now. You know, you see that energy, but like, how real is that, right? Like, I don't know. How much do you think these comments will actually affect the film in a negative way? I don't know, but I'll tell you this. I don't think they're doing much for the positivity of the movie. Do you know what I mean? Like, imagine if you're asked, what's the ideals of Superman? And instead of saying the politics stuff, like, instead of literally saying, like, it is about politics, but it's also on a level of morality. Instead of literally saying, like, he is an immigrant, you know what I mean? Like, instead of saying that, like, don't you have, like, a boilerplate alternate thing to say that's really just chill? Like, I know some of you guys get mad when I bring this up because you're like, I don't care about those bigots. I don't care about the people that don't agree with me. But you're also not investing millions and millions of dollars into what is ultimately a commercial product of a publicly traded company. So you cannot care. Gunn has to care. He literally has to. But it doesn't seem like he does. All right, let's talk about the box office numbers, though, because these are maybe equally as interesting, okay? So James Gunn said Superman... Oh, wait, no, that's not it. Where's the one with the box office? Okay, here it is right here. James Gunn says it's nonsense to think Superman will flop if it doesn't make $700 million. It doesn't need to be as big as people are saying. By the way, look at this poll. Guys, it's about 50-50. Are you shocked by the poll results? Like, just be honest. Are you shocked by the poll results? James Gunn says it's nonsense to think Superman will flop if it doesn't make $700 million. James Gunn's Superman is set to launch an entire new DC universe, but the writer-director is not feeling the kind of pressure one might think. Gunn, who is also the co-head of DC Studios with Peter Safran, recently told GQ magazine as part of the cover story for Superman star David Cornsweet that his movie is not the riskiest endeavor in the world, and some people are painting it as it is. Is there something riding on it? Yeah, but it's not as big as people are make it out to be. They hear these numbers that the movie's only going to be successful if it hits 700 million or something, and it's just complete and utter nonsense. It doesn't need to be as big of a situation as people are saying. Wow, really eloquently put. Since Superman is kickstarting the new DC universe, which includes the already filmed Supergirl movie and plans for new takes on Batman and Wonder Woman, Hollywood will be watching closely to see if the movie performs at the box office. The film, which carries a reported budget of $200 million, is arriving in theaters at a time when the comic book movies are no longer box office certainties. This is something I was bringing up. Warner Bros., the last DC universe, came to a thud with 2023 box office misfires. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, The Flash, and Marvel's box office woes have continued into 2025 with Captain America Brave New World flopping and even the well-reviewed Thunderbolts losing millions of dollars at the box office. Gunn spoke to Rolling Stone in 2023 and said that while superhero fatigue is definitely a real thing, it's not why comic book movies fail at the box office. I think there is such a thing as superhero fatigue. I think it doesn't have anything to do with superheroes. It has to do with the kind of stories that get to be told. And if you lose your eye on the ball, which is character, he said, we love Superman. We love Batman. We love Iron Man because they're incredible characters that we have in our hearts. And if it becomes just a bunch of nonsense on screen, it gets really boring. Interesting. Gunn expanded on his thoughts during an interview on the Inside of You podcast, explaining people have gotten really lazy with their superhero stories. And they have gotten to a place where, oh, it's a superhero. Let's make a movie about it. And then, oh, let's make a sequel because the first one did pretty good. And they aren't thinking about why is this story special? What makes this story stand apart from the other stories? What is the story at the heart of it? Why is this character important? What makes this story different that it fills needs for people's in theaters to go see? Superman opens on July 11th. Okay, so he's making this comment about how it doesn't need 700 million. It doesn't need to be as big of a situation as people are saying. What are your thoughts on that, chat? Because I've seen people have varied responses to this article and Gunn's comments here. I'm curious as to what you guys think of it, and then I'll give you my take. I'm curious. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, chat? I think he's right that it doesn't need to hit 700 million. But I think it needs to have clear signs of success. Okay? So, number one, I think it needs decent critic reviews. I think it needs pretty good audience reviews. I think if the audience reviews are like absolutely terrible, the critics' reviews are really mixed, and then it only makes like $500 million, that's pretty tough. Like that is a tough combination of things to like deal with, right? You know, like that would legitimately be, that's very tough. Okay. However, if it only makes like 500-600 million, but it's got like high 70s, maybe 80s RT, it's got like A+ or A-, or A audience scores. If the Metacritic's incredible, if people really love it, and it makes a huge social media imprint, right? Like I would say it needs to do well. And then a lot of the big videos about it from other channels need to do well. Like there needs to be signs that people are interested in exploring that universe outside of the material, you know, whether it's like new rock stars, heavy spoilers, you know, Ryan Airy, all of them. I think you need to see signs of life there. I think you want to see a positive social media imprint with like people and it trending for several days. Like there are a lot of different signs that I think would be very positive for the film. But I ultimately think Hollywood itself, like I just don't know that Zaslav, like, dude, we're talking about a company that literally just split itself. It wants to sell. It wants to sell either a part of it or the whole thing. Okay? We're talking about a time where movies themselves are in a decline, where it seems like comic book movies are probably in a decline. If I were Warner Brothers, you might just not want to do this anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you might just not want to bet the farm on a new universe for a tired genre in an industry that's diminished. Like, do you understand what I'm saying? So I would imagine there's a lot more at stake. Like, he's being very cavalier about it. He's trying to be chill. I totally get that. I also think it's important to maybe set yourself up for a potential loss and taking that on the chin. I think that's completely appropriate. But I got to say, man, I think if this movie underperforms and there are not a lot of other positive signs, I think it could be over. I truly do. Because honestly, like, what would the justification be exactly? For Warner Brothers specifically, what would the justification be? Oh, we can sell more comics? Are you kidding me? The comic book industry is like 1% of movies. Movies is like 5% of video games. What are we talking about? Oh, it'll sell more comics. I highly doubt that. By the way, DC doing great in comics on their own. The Absolute stuff is absolutely crushing it. What are they going to do? Theme parks? Warner Brothers doesn't do theme parks. They license to theme parks. What are they going to do? If they can't make the money off the movie, how are they going to make the money? Disney has options. Disney can make money in the parks. Disney can make money with the license. Disney can make money through Disney Plus. I suppose you could say this could bolster the catalog of HBO Max, or whatever they're calling it these days. I don't know, man. Dude, I feel like chat, what do you think? Do you think this is a super big fucking deal? I think Superman is a really big deal. I think how this movie performs is massive. I think this could have huge ramifications for the whole industry. I think this is a super big fucking deal. Disney Plus is dead? Brother, what are you talking about? The last week of Andor, Disney Plus had the top 2 streaming shows. Disney Plus is dead? People might not watch all of those Disney Plus programs. Disney Plus makes a shit ton of money. I think this Superman movie is a super big deal. I think this has massive ramifications. And I will also say this. I don't think it's completely Gunn's fault because at this point, we know Warner Brothers made some changes to his movie or whatever, right? But I mean, guys, the guy got the job and hired himself to write and direct the first movie, and it's Superman. Okay? So how could the guy that took that bold of action not be directly held accountable if it goes a bad way? If this thing goes a bad way, Gunn gets the most blame out of anyone. Second up would be Zaslav for hiring him, but I mean, still, he decided to hire himself to write and direct the thing. Right? Dude, this is crazy, dude. I think this whole situation is crazy. And I think the cavalier nature that he's using here, man, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We shall see. And we're going to find out, and we're going to find out together, and we're going to find out rather soon. Okay. You guys want to talk about some Doomsday leaks? Should we talk about some Doomsday leaks and then let's get on out of here? Oh, you know what? Actually, no. I want to talk about the Fantastic Four thing. Although, maybe we save that for tomorrow, honestly. Maybe we save that for tomorrow. Okay. All right. Let me talk about this real quick. Warhammer time? Oh, hell yeah, dude. I'm all about that Warhammer, man. I was working on videos all weekend. Okay. So I want to show you this because it's kind of cool. It seems like Kevin Feige might be up to his old tricks, and I, for one, am absolutely here for it, okay? So the first 30 minutes of the Fantastic Four First Steps was screened at a fan event in Brazil. The social media embargo will lift on July 8th. Here's just one little reaction here. This guy says, no one is prepared. There are other reactions I saw out there that are equally as crazy. People seemed to have absolutely fucking loved the first 30 minutes of the Fantastic Four. Now, the reason this is so interesting is because Fantastic Four and Superman are in conflict with each other. I know there's a lot of people, including Gunn, that might want to act like they are not, but they are. And 2 weeks after Superman, Fantastic Four enters, and it will probably chop the legs off of Superman, unless Superman is very, very well received and maybe Fantastic Four is not. Okay? And we've been kind of curious, like, what's the deal with the marketing strategy here? Superman seems to be doing its own thing marketing. Fantastic Four marketing is ramping up. How effective is it? They don't seem to be going at each other very much. However, this would be the first sign of an actual shot across the bow from Kevin Feige to James Gunn. The fact that Gunn, or rather Feige, scheduled 30-minute previews in Brazil, and I also think they're actually in other markets as well. I think they're maybe doing some tonight as well. First 30 minutes of the movie, and the embargo is lifting the same day that the Superman reviews come out. So at a time when the Superman reviews are going to be incredibly mixed, and this is just my prediction, okay? This is just my prediction, all right? At a time when I think the Superman reviews are going to start coming out and be incredibly mixed, Fantastic Four reviews, which, number one, they're not even going to be full reviews. Okay, this is actually so smart. They're not even full reviews. They won't show up on an aggregator, and it was a fan event. So let me just ask you guys, how do you think those reviews are going to go for Fantastic Four tomorrow? How do you think the Brazilian people, some of the most passionate motherfuckers ever to walk the earth, are going to respond to a special 30-minute preview on the day that the Superman mixed as fuck reviews go live? How do you think that? You might not think the movie's going to be good. How do you think Brazil's going to react? Oh, who really cares? Says Denter Dyron. Who really cares? Who even cares, bro? Yeah, I think these reviews are going to be pretty positive tomorrow. I'm actually really looking forward to it. I mean, look, am I biased here? Yes. But I think Fantastic Four looks so much better than Superman. Like, legitimately. I think it looks so much better. Just literally looks better. I think it's going to be more adventurous. I don't think it's going to be controversial. I think it's going to be adventure, action, family, fun, heart. Every clip I see makes me excited. Every clip I see of Superman makes me sigh. Every clip I see of Fantastic Four makes me smile. Right? I think this movie, I think it looks so damn good. Now, we're going to do a whole thing, you know, because after this week, we'll start talking about Fantastic Four numbers. We'll go over the Fantastic Four leagues. We'll do all the things we just did for Superman for the Fantastic Four movie. There is a lot that is potentially going to weigh down Fantastic Four. Mostly Phase 5, Phase 6, and all the stupid, silly shit we've had to deal with for the past 6 years, okay? Fantastic Four could be in some serious fucking trouble. Make no mistake about it. Fantastic Four could bomb. Fantastic Four potentially has a harder time overcoming the fatigue of comic books and fans than Superman does. All of that said, I think it looks way fucking better. I am way more excited for it. And I think Marvel has a ton of passionate fans all around the world. I mean, yes, they're putting up some real stinkers. They're putting up some numbers that are like, what the fuck are we doing here, right? At the same time, last year they had a movie do 1.3 billion worldwide. It was rated R. The year before that, they almost had $1 billion movie as they were end capped by bombs. You had Quantumania, bomb. You had The Marvels, the biggest bomb in the history of Hollywood. And in the middle of the year, you had Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 almost making $1 billion without China. So the Marvel thing is like, it seems really hit or miss, but there's plenty of people that are lying in wait to go support Marvel movies. That is still a thing. And even though Brave New World underperformed, and even though Thunderbolts underperformed, there's still, what, top 5, top 6 films of the year still? Fantastic Four is a big mystery for me. I don't know if it's maybe just the numbers we've been following around Superman. Maybe it's just Gunn and his white spiky hair. But for whatever reason, I feel like the numbers talk about Fantastic Four has been kind of lost. I feel like we're not even sure what this fucking movie costs. I feel like we're not even sure what the projections are. I feel like there's so much less that we're talking about when it comes to Fantastic Four. Maybe that's actually good. Maybe that's going to serve the film well because it'll sort of be like Superman, 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 Fantastic Four. Right? As opposed to like when we talked about Brave New World for 2 years in a row thinking it was utter shit. Oh, maybe it'll be good. Wait, no, it's utter shit. Right? So I think tomorrow is going to be an interesting day. I think tomorrow is going to be fascinating. And I got to say, if we truly do experience something tomorrow where Superman is getting mixed reviews and Fantastic Four is getting glowing social media reviews, I got to tell you, I think that's really smart. I think that's really clever. And that feels like old school Kevin Feige to me. So that's what's going on tomorrow. Can't wait to hear more about this. I'm excited. Just more juice, baby. Just more juice. More excitement. Do you guys have any thoughts about this at all? What do you think about this? Oh, no. Resident Justice is in here and says, what happens if they both get good reviews and reactions? So first of all, RJ, love to see you here. Glad you're in here. And also, you're going to be in this clip now, which is kind of funny. But brother, you're the guy that has 5 scheduled showings of Superman. Have you ever asked yourself what's going to happen if it's ass? Like, what's going to happen to you, RJ, if Superman is fucking trash and you bought 5 tickets this week? Well, I'll tell you what's going to happen, RJ. You're going to fucking pretend it's incredible. You're going to keep all of your criticisms to yourself. And I love you for it. You know what I mean? God bless, brother. Like like, you know, like that's, hey, you do you, I'll do me, and we'll see how it goes. You know what I mean? No, I love RJ though, by the way. I really do. He's a great dude. What else is going on, chat? Sounds a lot like you. Yeah, maybe that's why we like each other. You know, we're similar, just on opposite ends, maybe. Check out the new Superman IMAX promo. Okay, is it a trailer here, chat? Oh, you know what? We gotta hide this. We don't want to trigger you guys with like political memes or a bunch of thoughts or whatever. Okay, what are we looking for here? Superman IMAX? Superman IMAX. How many frames of James Gunn are in this IMAX promo? What do you think? All right, let's see.
Let's roll, please, and action.
IMAX is the best way to see a movie like this. You're able to see all the elements of filmmaking come together in a big spectacle film.
Hey, buddy, eyes up here.
Seeing Superman fly, we want as much frame as you possibly can.
True.
James is extraordinarily deliberate and really is putting together action unlike any that you've ever seen before.
See, more of that, dude. If we hear a bunch of that, I know I keep going back and forth on this, but like seriously, that's what I want to hear more of. Action like you've never seen before. If that's all over the reviews tomorrow, then I think this thing goes high.
We're making some banging action worth seeing on a big screen.
Superman is just made for IMAX. You're almost inside the movie.
IMAX takes advantage of actual, real special effects.
By the way, I told you guys this before, but when I met Theory for the first time, we actually went to this building. We went into the arcade, and then we held each other and flew to the ceiling as well.
Of actual, real special effects. Visual effects. The musical score, which is so enormous and big and pounding. In a way, in a theater that you never could if you're
Enormous, big, and pounding. Hey, yo.
just watching it at home.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I liked how enormous and pounding it was. Should we watch it again?
Let's roll, please, and action.
IMAX is the best way to see a movie like this. You're able to see all the elements of filmmaking come together in a big spectacle film.
Hey, buddy, eyes up here.
Seeing Superman fly, we want as much frame as you possibly can.
All of this shit looks fucking incredible. Like, literally,
James
all of
is
that shit looks on
extraordinarily
point.
deliberate and really is putting together action unlike any that you've ever seen before.
We're making some banging action worth seeing on a big screen.
Superman is just made for IMAX. You're almost inside the movie.
IMAX takes advantage of actual, real special effects. Visual effects. The musical score, which is so enormous and big and pounding.
Enormous, big, and pounding.
In a way, in a theater that you never could if you're just watching it at home.
That's pretty good promo. Pretty good promo. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, we'll see, man. Everything that I just said stands, man. I think we're on the razor's edge, and it's really going to depend on the reviews and the context of the reviews as well, for sure. For sure. Well, I guess that's what we got to say about the Fantastic Four, though. We will get our first little social media reviews of that tomorrow as a Rotten Tomato score comes out for Superman. I'm really interested to see how that goes. Okay, should we talk a little bit about Doomsday? Y'all want to know some Doomsday leaks? Are you guys down for some Doomsday leaks? I love how aggressive Feige is being. Me too. I think it's pretty funny. Okay. So, potential spoilers here. I don't think this is anything too crazy, guys. So, and also, this movie is now a long ways away. Not to say that this won't show up in the film, but you got to take it with a major grain of salt, okay? And we've had a lot of questions about what exactly is going on in Doomsday. What's the deal with like the Avengers? How are they going to meet the Fantastic Four? How are they going to interact with that X-Men universe? What's the deal with Franklin Richards, et cetera, et cetera? Well, This is all coming from that James Macweld guy who, again, man, we just really don't know. What's the deal with this guy? You would think at this point, people would come out and debunk this guy and say that he was completely full of shit. And yet, that's not happening, which I continue to think is strange. Maybe there's something here. Maybe the guy's true. I'm not really sure. Unblock him? No, I'm not. I think I did unblock him, actually. I'm not sure. Marvel's Avengers Doomsday new plot details reveal how Earth 616 comes face to face with the Earth 10005 X-Men universe as Shuri, Letitia Wright, discovers the incursion and alerts the Avengers. Now, I want you to try not to get butthurt about how this would so obviously have been T'Challa if Marvel had made the correct decisions and recast the character. I want you to try to not get enraged at how some of the greatest T'Challa writing done by Jonathan Hickman in the Time Runs Out event is now going to be handled by Shuri in the MCU. So try not to get too mad about that. But here we go. According to insider James Mack, who previously leaked details about the incursions in Doomsday, new information reveals that Shuri is the one who discovers the incursions while detecting anomalies in the fabric of reality and investigating the multiverse. Why is she investigating the multiverse? Could that connect to another T'Challa? That'd be cool. She realizes that different universes are colliding with each other. Using a hologram similar to the one in the Shang-Chi post-credit scene, she shares her findings with Sam Wilson, Wong, Bruce Banner, and Carol Danvers, warning them about an imminent threat. Meanwhile, the events of the Fantastic Four arrival on 616 take place. The Thunderbolts / New Avengers are the first to encounter them. Reed Richards reveals that Dr. Doom has kidnapped his son Franklin and also mentions Galactus, who previously tried to capture Franklin because of his immeasurable power. Bucky, unsure how to handle the situation with Doom, goes to seek the advice from Sam Wilson. Later in the story, Shuri gathers Sam, Wong, Banner, and Carol in person in Wakanda. In a large meeting room, Thor, Bucky, Yelena, M'Baku, Namor, the Fantastic Four are also present. Shuri reveals that a specific universe is dangerously approaching Earth 616. During the conversation, and while analyzing the situation, she detects the energy signature of someone from Earth 616 trapped in the approaching universe. Carol deduces it's Monica Rambeau and becomes even more motivated for the mission. At the same time, Reed Richards uses Wakandan technology. Again, try not to get super butthurt about how Reed and T'Challa build incredible technology together in the Jonathan Hickman run, and now it's going to have to be Shuri. Try not to let that prevent you from enjoying this, but that is also true. So during the conversation where they're analyzing, she blah, 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 they come up with a plan with 3 objectives: to stop the incursions and save Earth 616, to rescue Monica Rambeau, and to defeat Dr. Doom by saving Franklin Richards. To open a portal to this parallel universe, Wong calls America Chavez, her only role in the film. Everyone unites for this mission. The Avengers, led by Sam, part of the Thunderbolts / New Avengers, not all of them, the Fantastic Four, Shuri, M'Baku, and Namor. Wong stays behind on Earth. From that point on, it's Earth 616 versus the Earth where the X-Men reside. And they'll soon discover it's all part of an even bigger plan involving Doctor Doom, the TVA, and Loki. Sam Wilson, Thor, Captain America, Jennifer Walters, Bucky Barnes, Bob, Bruce Banner, Shuri, M'Baku, Namor, the Fantastic Four are tasked with resolving the incursion between the two worlds, rescuing Monica and protecting Loki at the Citadel. Meanwhile, John Walker, Ghost, Red Guardian remain on Earth 616 alongside the Avengers to protect the planet from an unknown invasion. The remaining Thunderbolts unite with Wakanda, Talokan, and the Sorcerers led by Wong to help defend Earth. Okay, so a couple of interesting things going on here. Number one, this does match up to a lot of the other things that this guy's been reporting. It lines up with a lot of things other people have been reporting. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. This dude is either completely accurate, bringing up some crazy shit, or he's just following closely along with the leaks and making predictions that fall in line with all the other stuff that we have. We really don't know exactly what is going on here. However, due to the post-credit scene of the Fantastic Four, which we more or less know does now involve Doctor Doom taking Franklin, this would actually make sense. Okay, now there's a couple other things going on here that help to make this make sense. For instance, the X-Men universe that Doom is going to is an X-Men utopia of sorts. Okay, what that means is this is a world where the X-Men actually solve all the world's problems. The world is utopia. Mutants have freedom, equal rights for everybody. It's absolutely awesome, okay? One of the big castles that they've been shooting at is actually Magneto's castle, which apparently is on Genosha. So you remember in X-Men 97, there was Genosha, Magneto's trying it again, you know, bringing all the mutants together. It gets ruined in that show. That's going to be a thing in this film as well. So you're going to have Genosha, Magneto, Mutant Utopia, Charles Xavier, his X-Men with Monica Rambeau, and then all of a sudden, Doctor Doom enters the picture. And what we know about Doctor Doom, or at least from some of the leaks and rumors, is that Doctor Doom will be the one that takes control of the Sentinels, and the Sentinels there are going to attack that X-Mansion. So we've heard there's a crazy Magneto Doctor Doom fight. We've heard that there's a crazy fight at the X-Mansion. The very first day of shooting was Doctor Doom shooting internal shots at the X-Mansion with the X actors. These are all things that we know. Okay. We also know that the Avengers are going to end up fighting them. And this is because of a couple of different things. Like the guy that plays Nightcrawler was talking about how he's going to be fighting against Pedro Pascal. Other things that the Scoopers have said and all that, right? So this all seems to track. Now, I think the stuff with Shuri, you know, I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek here because obviously I love T'Challa. I love the Jonathan Hickman Time Runs Out comic. I loved how important T'Challa was to that whole situation. It's actually one of the things that I love T'Challa because of these issues, actually, because of that 3-year-long run where he's a part of the Illuminati. He joins the Illuminati. He's working with the Illuminati to try to stop the collapse of everything, okay? I love that. So I'm a little bit bummed that we're not getting that. However, Shuri investigating the multiverse, what is that about? Because we've also heard they want multiversal T'Challa. They want a version of T'Challa that comes from the multiverse that'll be an aged-up version of Toussaint. That's the rumor. So is she making contact with other versions of T'Challa? Is she making contact with other versions of Wakanda out there in the multiverse? I don't know, but that would be awesome, right? So that could be something that's going on. I also love the idea that Wakanda and Shuri, even though I'm a little butthurt that it's Shuri and not T'Challa, the idea that Wakanda would be the thing to bring all of these intelligent people together, give them the proper resources, and arm them up for a multiversal conflict. That's so obviously what would happen. In Time Runs Out, that happens. They go into the necropolis, Reed Richards using Wakanda technology, him and T'Challa make that one bomb, the antimatter bomb that blows everything up. So, yes, that is obviously a thing. They're using Wakandan tech and brilliant mind of Reed Richards to create things to have defense, to fight the game of worlds, you know, be out there in the multiverse and all that. So I kind of like that. The idea of bringing all these characters into Wakanda, it rings a little bit like a version of the Illuminati, right? Like it rings a little bit like a version of like the Great Society or something like that from comics. So yeah, all of that flavor seems good. I think it makes sense that they would go to this other universe. They would use America Chavez to enter that universe. Absolutely, totally makes sense. The only thing I'm a bit confused by, okay, is we've also heard that Doom will present himself to the Avengers and pretend to be Tony Stark. What is the deal with that? Okay, because how can Doom take Franklin, go into this other universe, Reed is with the Avengers, Reed is there with the Avengers trying to go after Doom and get Franklin back. At what point and how could Doom also enter the story pretending to be Tony Stark and tricking the Avengers? Well, one way that it could happen, there's going to be multiple Dooms, I think. That's Andrew says that in the chat. I think that's a possibility. But here's where I'm thinking, okay? This is what I'm cooking up. I think potentially after the Avengers go into the X-Men universe, it kind of seems like whatever's going to happen there with Doom, with Franklin, and with the X-Men, they will not come back to 616. They are instead going to go either into the TVA or the Void. This will have something to do with Loki. Okay? What might happen is after the Avengers leave, and then it's like, you know, the leftover Avengers with like John Walker, and Wong and all of them. Maybe that is when Doom shows back up. Maybe that is when Doom presents himself as Tony there to help them fight against the Doom bots and the army that's coming down to get Spider-Man. Because although that's not in this leak here, one of the current rumors is that this whole leftover cast of Avengers on 616, they're trying to defend Spider-Man. Spider-Man is the anchor being of this universe, and Doom needs to destroy Spider-Man in order to set that timeline free, in order to be able to complete his task, make a new universe, take like all the branches of the multiverse, make them into a singular universe. He needs to kill Spider-Man or use the power of Spider-Man. Okay. Well, way back in the day, when this movie was still called the Kang Dynasty, Tom Holland was said to be the lead of this film. And the reason he was going to be the lead of this film is because they wanted to have him and Kang and potentially other Avengers and other crazy things going on be the focal point, okay? When the movie shifted to being about Doctor Doom, what I heard, and a lot of other people reported about this, what I heard was they want to take that idea, transfer it into for Doctor Doom, and in fact, this is a part of why they're so obsessed with Robert Downey Jr. in the role. Robert Downey Jr. presenting himself as Tony Stark will create an incredibly emotional reaction to Tom Holland's Spider-Man. It will create that reaction to a lot of different people, but most of all, Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Okay? So if that is still a part of the film, and Spider-Man's staying behind, and he's the anchor being, and they still want to have Doom and Downey and that whole thing be emotional and be crazy, then the way it would make sense to me is Doom takes Franklin, goes to the X-Men universe, gets a bunch of the Avengers to go over there, except it's a secret trap to actually prevent the most powerful versions of both teams from being able to interfere with him when he gets to the Void and when he tries to get to Loki. Oh, but he also needs to destroy Spider-Man, and he has the perfect way to do that. He's going to create a scenario in which the whole world is getting invaded, and then he's going to have the hero of the Infinity Saga reemerge, say that he's there to help, and then he's going to kill Spider-Man. Whoa, dude. That would be pretty freaking crazy. I suppose it's also possible this guy has no idea what the fuck he's talking about, and he's totally making shit up. But to me, that's potentially how that could fit together. And look, until somebody comes out to like debunk this freaking guy, we're gonna keep talking about his scoops and trying to figure it out. And that's just the best version of me doing that. So yeah, that's possibly how it could work and where it could all go. Chat, what do you think about that? Too crazy? What do you think? What do you think, guys? Crazy? Too crazy? Just crazy enough? Why would Doom need to kill Spider-Man? Killing off anchor beings doesn't immediately destroy a universe. So I've always thought the anchor being was like kind of weird and kind of sloppy, right? But if you think about Paradox, right? He is going to destroy whose universe? Deadpool's universe. And why and how is he able to do that? Because its anchor being is already gone. Okay. Now I think this. I think this whole thing's like a little silly and convoluted. But if Doom wanted to immediately kill the universe, I think he cannot do that as long as the anchor being is alive. Do you see what I mean? Like, I feel like he needs to kill Spider-Man or remove Spider-Man. And then the universe can be destroyed. What do you think? Anchor beings are immortals? No. No, they're not immortals, no. But look, I'm not here to like argue or justify the anchor being thing. I think it's pretty sloppy. I think it's silly. I don't think they should have done the anchor being thing at all. I think it's stupid. But it is not that they're immortal. It's possible the anchor being changes, right? Like maybe there's always an anchor being that's there. They're going to have to explain it to us in the film. The anchor being is just a way to add... I think it's basically just a way to make Tom Holland more important for the movie. But how did the TVA prune branch timelines? I mean, dude, that's a great question. I don't have an answer for you. I mean, maybe it's the case that like the pruning kills the anchor being as well. I don't know. Zacatech says removing versus killing Spidey sounds more plausible. Yeah. Something like that. Yeah. I mean, he'll be back. It's possible, too, that he doesn't need to kill Peter, but he needs some of whatever the cosmic juice is. And maybe he can make Peter the anchor being of this new multiverse. I'm not really sure. I hate Miles Morales. No, I love the Miles Morales character. Maybe you're talking to somebody in chat. Will we get Venom in the end to resurrect Spider-Man? That's a possibility. Although it's actually, depending on how this goes, Spider-Man is going to come out before Doomsday now. And so Spider-Man, because there was a rumor they were going to kill Spider-Man and resurrect him with the Venom symbiote. They were going to do a funeral, like the whole thing, man. But I think that was potentially when Spider-Man was going to come out after Doomsday. Yeah, no? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the anchor being is just the friends we made along the way. Absolutely. 100%. I wouldn't be surprised if Doom promised Paradox his own kingdom on Battleworld. That's why Paradox was axing universes. I think something like that could be happening for sure. And that would actually make a lot of sense, right? I mean, if Doom has all these generals and all these people that he's interacting with, like it is totally possible that he is going around recruiting people and promising them a place in his new kingdom. I would actually love it if they did that with oh man, why am I blanking on it? Fuck. Yeah, I don't hate it. I don't hate it at all, man. Wow. Uh-oh. Could be some rough news going on around there for Superman. Apparently it's, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Plenty of stuff going on. In the world, man. I'm getting all kinds of crazy confirmations, all kind of crazy bits here. Anyway, guys, I think that's the bulk of the show. Let me just go through my notes here. We did that. I think that's the bulk of the show, man. I'll chill with you guys for a little bit. Did I see the Baxter Building Zillow promo? No, I did not. I don't even know what that is. What's a Zillow? Like the Zillow beast from Star Wars? Is that what you're talking about? Missed my super earlier. No biggie. I also have a vitamin water ritual. Aki Blue pomegranate is my go-to. Dragon fruit. I like the Triple X one. I think it's the same one as you. It's called Triple X. It's like purplish. Oh, I love that shit, man. And hey, man, I appreciate you, the Exodus. My bad on the missing the chat there, bud. Yeah, so that's my go-to. I go for that. Vitamin water. I'll tell you guys my popcorn or my movie theater ritual. This will happen tomorrow night. Go into the theater, and I'm going to say, hey, I need a large popcorn with butter layered. Okay? Y'all know about it getting layered? Anybody in the chat, or we got a bunch of millennial fucking rookies in here. Y'all know about layers? Dakota F, welcome to the Nerd Vengers, baby. Welcome back. Yeah. Yeah. See? Oh, yeah. You don't know? You don't know who's chicken? You never heard of it? How do I reach these kids? So the problem when you get a bunch of butter on the top of your popcorn is once you eat the top layer, there's no more. You need it layered. Okay, so they're going to throw a couple scoops of popcorn in there. They're going to do a layer of butter. They're going to throw some more popcorn over it. Then they're going to do a layer of butter. Then they're going to throw some popcorn on it and a layer of butter. Thank me later. Okay? Plenty of salt. I like it in the little packets because I like to be able to put a full-ass packet on every single handful of popcorn. Okay? You get a thing of Milk Duds. And while this shit is hot, and if it's not hot, you demand that it be hot. Okay? While it's hot, you take the Milk Duds and you give it a nice gentle shake. So like 5 or 6 of them fall off and hit your buttery popcorn. Okay? And hopefully it's just hot enough that it slightly melts and you fuse it together. A Milk Dud with a bunch of buttery, salty popcorn around it. Woo! And then you smash that shit. You smash that shit. And then just little sips. Little sips. Don't chug. Sips, man. Otherwise, you're going to have to piss like 3 times. Okay? So you want to even it out. Little sip, couple handful, couple sips, and then you're good. Pablo the Third says, sounds a little soy boyish. I'm glad. I couldn't be happier that it sounds soy boyish to you, Pablo. Not the second, not the first, the motherfucking third. Because you, Pablo, are a special kind of dumbass that works as a cultural compass. Anything the opposite of what you like, want, or desire is the right way to do things. That'll be $48.35. Yeah, it is actually pretty expensive. Yeah, it is. It is pretty expensive. Josh, how do you think Doom will kill Spider-Man with spider senses and all that stuff? Oh, dude, that's a great question. I actually like that question. Pablo, where's your dumbass at with these questions like this? Holy shit. This is a good question. So, remember in No Way Home? Do you remember? Remember when Peter knows? He gets the tingle. And he's like, something's up. So what if, like, the whole time, Peter's not sure? And then there's that moment. And his Peter tingles. And then maybe we see the face, RDJ's face as Tony disappear. And instead we see the scarred. Oh, see, what the fuck, Pablo? $20? I'm just busting your balls, love the channel. Now I feel bad. Thanks, Pablo. You're a real one. Yeah, so what if you got something like that? And then, like, his face disappears, and then you see, like, the grotesque, scarred, like, actual horrific face? That would be kind of cool. That would be kind of cool. Pablo, we love you here. I'm sorry. I don't know why I am like this. You know, like, I don't know, maybe it's just all that fucking butter I have been eating on my popcorn for 38 years. I don't know what it is. Okay, maybe it's hot in here. You know, they gave fucking James Gunn the whole DC universe. I don't know what it is, Pablo, okay? But it's not you. It's me. Much love. John Johnston, welcome back to the Nerd Vengers, baby. Appreciate you, man. Thank you, thank you. So maybe he shows the real face of Peter at the end and makes Peter doubt his spidey senses, and it sinks a knife into Peter's heart. Something like that, bro. Something like that would be brutal. Yeah, I would really like that, man. I would really like that. What the fuck, Justin? I don't know. I don't even know what's going on there. You guys, man. You guys. Justin hit me up. I hope you don't mind me saying this, Justin. Justin hit me up in the DMs, man. You know, he was just making sure I was okay. I think he knows how crazy chat is. I think he knows how crazy the nerdy space is and all that, you know. I got 2 kids and stuff, so it's just like, dude, life can come at you fast, you know, and it can be pretty rough. So Justin was hitting me up, man. He hit me up and he was like, I'm just checking on you, bro. Which, first of all, I really appreciated. And then I told him, I was like, dude, I just won 2 games in a row with my Custodes and like strong wins. Like strong wins. And I was just like, dude, like, I'm good, man. Like, hey, Pablo the third, my favorite, man. The first and second ain't shit. Pablo the third, let's fucking go. You are a nerd venger now. Anybody that can take my ass and the bullshit that comes out of here and be a good sport about it, welcome in the community, 100%. But yeah, so I say all that to say Justin was like checking in on me, and I think part of why is because between James Gunn and Disney, the thing I've dedicated a lot of my life to is like falling apart. You know? But it's all good because Warhammer is treating your boy good, man. Dude, I'm telling you, you don't know what it's like. It's a high that is hard to describe. But I mean, Warhammer's like, it's so complex, it's so challenging, it's tough, it's hard to get a game together, right? When you play a game of Warhammer and you're generaling, like you're just being a perfect general, you're making incredible decisions, and you're rolling hot, baby. You can't miss a roll, baby. And you're playing good. The list is coming together. Every secondary card you pull feels like, oh, I'm right here. I could do this. Oh, it's hard to describe that feeling, man. Hard to describe that feeling. I'm buzzing off of that shit. So I'm good. I'm okay. I only wish that Justin and others would accept the God Emperor of Mankind into their hearts, because I think you guys would be having a lot more fun too. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm going to say. Okay? I tried not to pivot into Warhammer too much today. I tried to be good, because Superman, we all care. It's a really big deal, blah, blah, blah. I'm just trying to help. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to help. Anchor being, LOL, what is Marvel doing? I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. I think the anchor being is silly. I think the anchor being is silly. But, you know, I don't make those decisions. And at the end of the day, like, maybe it's not the biggest deal. You know? Maybe it's not the end of the world. Man. All right, I'll chill for a couple more minutes here, guys. How you guys feeling, man? What's on your mind, dude? It's a big week, dude. Warhammer, the next MCU? I think so, Pablo. I think so. I mean, there's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of unique challenges to the IP, but I think so. I think it has the potential, yeah. Low-key been subverting everything for Warhammer at the end. Orcs for life, though, so I get it. Yeah, the orcs are cool. The orcs are cool. I was actually just reading some Warhammer comics last night, man. And there was a really cool series. It was only 4 issues, and it was all about like a team of Death Watch. And Death Watch is kind of like they're the like anti-alien special forces, or like FBI. So any Space Marine from any individual chapter can be recruited into the Death Watch. And dude, I was reading that Death Watch, John, last night, and I was just like, dude, this is so cool. And eventually they have to fight a bunch of orcs, and the orcs kind of like obviously cause a lot of problems. But yeah, I think there's definitely juice there, man. I think there's juice there. I'd rather see live action version of The Adventures of the Brave Little Toaster scored by Trent Reznor than a Warhammer movie. Well, let me ask you this, Dr. Brooklyn. Is that the guy that did the movie or the music from the original film? Because the music in that original movie is so fucking good, dude. The Brave Little Toaster movie, man, it's good. Oh, he's from Nine Inch Nails? Oh, that's the guy from Nine Inch Nails? What? Huh, that's crazy. Shalomi Leaner says, can you talk about the Supergirl movie? Are there any updates on it? I mean, not really too many updates. There's stuff we know about Superman that connects to it. I don't want to go into spoilers here, but yeah, that'll be cool. Yeah, that's probably all I can say about it, man. There's a lot in Superman that will affect how you will view Supergirl. That's all I can say. Coming back to Cleveland next year? Oh, yeah. Well, dude, I'll tell you, man, I saw that Theory met John Boyega. And it just seemed like a really good experience, you know? And I'm jealous. I want to get out there to the cons. I want to see you guys. I want to meet other people, have fun. So Jamal, welcome to the Nerd Vengers. You are a Nerd Venger now. Appreciate you. Lou Capadona says Silver Age Gunn soups greater than Snyder Dark Superman. I guess we'll see. Maybe a lot of people will view that the same way. I mean, it's tough because I think I can intellectually understand that argument, but it's tough when like you see how the Snyder stuff performed compared to all this other stuff, and it's like, I don't know, man. I mean, I guess we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out how the public feels about it, and we'll see. I'm not inherently against more of a traditional Superman or like more of the Boy Scout or whatever, right? And in fact, there are other directors like the Mission Impossible guy, Christopher McQuarrie. I would have loved to see like his wholesome version of Superman. For me, it's like weird that we're getting a wholesome version of Superman that's also made by James Gunn. Like, to me, that just feels like a mismatch. There's so much irreverent ridiculousness that I think of when I think of Gunn. That's not the same thing to me as like a more traditional Superman. You know what I mean? So I could see it going that way, and then it's really good and people really respond to it. I could see a lot of people. And here's the other thing, too, without getting into spoilers. Gunn does a lot of the same shit that Zack does. Maybe not with the actual Superman character, but a lot of the shit in the movie, it feels like Gunn would do a lot of the same stuff. So we'll see. We shall see. X-Men's Bishop Boyega. He'd be cool. You never knighted Rossi. Can you knight him? Is Rossi even here? Or are you just trying to get him knighted? I don't understand. Gunn made the movie because of how important it is to the DCU. Yeah, I think that's probably true. I think Gunn just said, this is important. I have to set the tone. I have to make this film. Rossi, welcome to the Nerd Vengers. You are a Nerd Venger now, 100%. Yeah, I think that's probably true. But the question is, like, was that the right move? You know, I'm still not convinced that it is the right move. I understand why he did it. I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure. What's for lunch? I'm not actually sure. I'm not sure what we're going to do for lunch. Yeah, I'm not sure. I got some stuff to take care. Oh my God, I just realized. You guys are going to think this is so funny, but I actually do have to get out of here. I have a haircut. I'm not even kidding this time. I have a haircut. I got to go get a haircut soon because I want to be looking fresh when I shit all over Superman. I mean, when I do my reviews of Superman, you know what I mean? Dan Kirkwood, welcome to the Nerd Vengers, baby. No, I do. I actually do have to get a haircut today. What time are you seeing Superman tomorrow? Either 7 or 7:30. Who's the main Avenger you want to see Cyclops beat the hell out of it in a Doomsday? I want to see Cyclops beat all of them. Not just with his power, but his strategy. I mean, this is the guy that Charles Xavier crafted as a leader since a very young age. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. If I had to choose between Matt or Gunn to direct Superman, I'd choose Matt. F4 looks very comic accurate and cinematic. That's true. It does. It looks really cool. Looks really cool. Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be exciting, man. Tomorrow we'll go over the reviews. That's going to be crazy. We'll get the first reviews for that Fantastic Four thing as well. Maybe some other leaks. Maybe some other rumors. And then I see it tomorrow night, man. I see it tomorrow night. I'll probably like tweet a little bit about it or put something in the Discord. And then Wednesday we'll do non-spoiler review for most of the stream. Maybe there'll be some other stuff that pops off too. We'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna get on out of here. Hey, I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. This was a fun stream. Good start to the week. We're gonna have blast, man. I promise you. We're gonna have a blast over here. I'm truly hoping that I love it. I've made my predictions. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll look really foolish by the end of the week, or maybe I'll look really smart. We'll see. And either way, we'll talk about it. We'll figure it out together. Then we'll sort of next week we'll talk spoilers. We'll talk box office. We'll talk Fantastic Four. We'll get into that comparison. Next couple of weeks can be pretty crazy around here. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're checking out the main channel. Make sure you're checking out the Clips channel. A lot of crazy stuff happening. I don't want you to miss any of it. Meet Normus says, I want to see Cyclops murk Hawkeye. Lasers through his arrows and his forehead. Captain Marvel is too powerful. I don't know if you're going to get any stuff like that. But yeah, Cyclops being really formidable would be great. And I think he needs to be formidable and also like just a really good leader, like a battle planner, like really good. You know, so that's what I'm hoping for. Appreciate the love, though. Meet Normus. Thank you so much. Everybody, man, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for being here. Much love. See you guys tomorrow. Video dropping later today. Clips dropping later today. And we'll be back at it tomorrow at 11 a.m. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Can you have your barber give you the Clark Kent haircut for a historical moment in time? Yeah, maybe. Thoughts on the Idaho 4 case? I have no idea what that is. Thank you. Hey, is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Oh, man. Another happy landing, dude. Another happy landing, man. We're doing our thing over here, you know. It's a big week for us. I'm excited. I know you guys are excited. Maybe it'll go real good. Maybe it'll go real bad. I don't know, man. Crazy. Also, were you guys shocked at the poll results? Be honest. Be honest. Because I feel like we live in a world where, like, half of us literally don't believe the other half exist. And it's like, I thought by now we would know that we have like a divide. There's like people that think differently than us or whatever. But you know, we'll see. We'll see if that actually makes any impact on the film. We'll investigate it all as we go throughout the week. Anyway, appreciate you guys. Seriously, much love, man. It is a blessing to be able to do this for a living. It is so fun to be able to get in here, goof off, give some insight, you know, try to give some takes, and mostly just entertain, you know. So thank you for that. I really appreciate it. Much love, and I'll see you tomorrow. Do me one favor on the way out. Actually, do me two. Would you open up your third eye? And would you wash out your stinky butt? See ya.